Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Sunday, October 15th, 2023, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ ORIONNWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Detroit Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going back to the old school creamsicles for the first time in 11 years. I can't wait. Tough loss yesterday for my Oregon Ducks to the University of Washington. Hey, those Huskies, Michael Penix Jr., go win that Heisman. Hey, go win it all, baby. You know, you can't win them all. Obviously, we know with coaching, play calling, that is everything. And Dan Lanning, I'm not sure if you are it, but for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this is a good opportunity to be able to show that we are one of the top teams in the NFC. And with the Seahawks losing to the Bengals, this should be the next two teams that are in line below the Niners and the Eagles. But now the Browns are threatening against San Francisco, and they might actually get their first loss of the season. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I haven't wore the creamsicle in a minute. Like, they haven't done a game since like 2012, like Levante David's rookie year. I usually wear the creamsicle once a year, and it's been about a year. And then obviously I have the the matching old school throwback hat. And I was going to go with the hard hat, but the hard hat has the regular logo, not the old school vintage logo with Bucco Bruce. And then I ended up digging through, and I ended up finding an old 70s hat. Kind of dirty though. So I figured, I would rather go with this one. This one was a little bit cleaner. I took a little baby wipe to it to make sure I got any dust off on it. It's been in a box for over a year, just sitting there waiting and whatnot. So I got the Doug Williams sewn. We got the Doug Williams, obviously. We got the hat. Everything is ready to go. And we'll see what happens. Marcos Pineda, let's go, baby. $10 holla. Go Beavs. Hey, your Beavers playing really, really well. And USC got exposed by Notre Dame with not having a defense. We play them, in November at Autzen. So I think we can get back on track. But really the matchup I'm looking forward to the most, besides that USC, is actually that Oregon State-Oregon. That is the most anticipated matchup to me the rest of the way, besides that Washington game where we lost. If we just would have went for field goals after we got that pick right before the first half, then we're down by one. Then we could have went for another, field goal try, and then we would have ended up winning that game. I predicted the score would be 37-34 Washington. It ended up being 36-33, so I missed it by a point. But if we would have went for those two field goals, Oregon would have won 39-36. So it shows you, when you have a head coach like Dan Lanning and he tries to be like Chip Kelly, a lot of times if you're going for it on fourth down, in the first quarter, second quarter, or third quarter, or you choose to give up a field goal to go for it, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be successful. Even Chip Kelly struggled at times. You have to make sure it's about timing, when you actually decide to go for it and when you actually take the points. And we deserve to lose that game, but I am happy for Michael Penix Jr. I actually hope that he wins the Heisman. I'm not sure if they can win it all, but they are one of the best teams in college football. And I saw in the AP ranking, they moved up to 5. Congratulations to them. And then the Ducks moved down 1 spot, since we only lost by 3, to number 9. So still an opportunity for us to be able to do some big things for both of our schools. Appreciate you, and your Beavers are for real. I'm not a hater towards the Huskies or towards the Cougars or towards the Beavers. Honestly, I really root for all you guys to do well, and I'm really happy that the Beavers have turned it around. For a while, the Ducks were beating you guys up, game in and game out, year in and year out. Now you guys look like the team to beat, so I'm definitely excited about that, and thank you for your support for the channel. Marcos is pretty much the only person that lives in Oregon that supports me through and through on every video, and I do appreciate that very, very much. Shout out to you, my brother. Let's go. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang, baby. Bang, bang, baby. Appreciate you. $10 holla. Let me know what you want to see for photos, and I got you. Sarah in the room, what is good? Eddie in the room, what's good? And I got a couple cool things that we have lined up. Obviously, we have the thumb. It took me a while. Got the Aiden Hutchinson, and we got the Baker Mayfield. It was hard to be able to find images with them that I could actually convert over. I had a Levante David, but he was facing kind of the opposite direction. So I feel that, this was a better look. We got both logos in there with the Bucko Bruce. And then I got to hit you. See, this was the one that I was trying to convert, but then I would have had to delete the logo, Detroit Lions versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers, pretty much all the wording on this. This would have been the ideal background, but I wasn't able to convert it. But I mean, look how beautiful that looks from 1976 in Tampa Bay when we actually wore the creamsicles. But I figured I would end up using the photo itself to kind of show you guys back in the 70s. We were one of the worst teams in the NFL. We came in the same time as the Seattle Seahawks in 1976. Steve Spurrier, the Florida Gator famous coach, was the first quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They went 0 for 14, but just a few years later, Doug Williams, with the jersey I got on right now, in 1979, they took them all the way to the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. We lost, but, we had a few guys, Leroy Selman, Hall of Famer, Doug Williams, Hall of Famer, and a few others that kind of put us on the map, but we really didn't get going until, 95, and that's when we ended up having Tony Dungy, picked up Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, and then, we already know the rest of the history with Tampa. 2 Super Bowl appearances against the Raiders in 2002, and then against the Chiefs a couple years ago. We're 2-0, just like the Ravens flock, and it feels good. All right, here we go. Browns are trying to actually get this dub here, and we're going to end up getting started in just a moment. Marcos, my boy, you got something specific that you want to see? We have a few people that are Seahawks fans, obviously with Reflect and Megan, and I kept saying, I felt that, Tampa, the Seahawks, Buccaneers, Seahawks, and Lions are pretty close, but we're not in the same category as the Niners and the Eagles. And obviously road games are harder, than obviously home games. And I had a feeling that the Bengals might end up getting that dub. They did. And, it was a close one. And I know some people are going to be like, Geno Smith sucks, this and that. The offensive line needs to improve. It's not Geno Smith. Geno Smith is completely fine. The offensive line needs to be better, and the defense needs to be better. You improve those positions, then things will fall into place. But, every time a quarterback, ends up getting sacked, or there ends up being a bad throw, first thing that most people look at, especially if they don't even know football, oh, that quarterback sucks. Quarterback sucks. Geno doesn't suck. He's still one of the top 12 or 13 quarterbacks in this league, in my opinion. But the offensive line, they got a ways to go. Some games they're going to look great. Like when you guys played the Giants, you guys looked awesome. 11 sack lunches. Now, if you guys could play the Giants every fucking game, you guys would be great. You guys would be 17-0. But that's the reality of the NFL. You ain't going to play Seattle versus the New York Football Giants every week. And sometimes when you do go on the road, you're not going to get the results sometimes that you want, even though you're close in the game. Just like my Ducks. I thought we should have won that game yesterday, but I did predict, before the game started that we would lose 37-34. But just the way that you lose the game, like it's one thing if it just goes back and forth, right? And then you lose. But when your coach puts you in a position to lose by going for it on 4th down twice and not taking points, especially when I ended up calling that pick that we got right before the first half and we didn't capitalize and take the field goal. He got greedy, Dan Lanning, and we could have only been down by 1 point rather than, being down by 4. And then that ultimately led to our demise. So, it is what it is. And I'm just waiting for this matchup to end so that way I can get into the Tampa matchup here. So I got to open up a couple links here. And then in Oregon, for whatever reason, they are not showing the Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're showing the Eagles and the Jets, which doesn't really make any sense, but I guess it is what it is. All right, one sec here. Yes, they did. Well, you know why the game is close is because Christian McCaffrey got hurt. I don't know if you play fantasy, Marcos Pineda, but I'm going against the number 1 seed. I'm going to be the number 1 seed after today. I'm going to end up getting a little bit of payback against Chief Will Chief. And if you have Christian McCaffrey, he's the number 1 running back. Chief Will Chief also has the number 1 quarterback in Josh Allen. Okay. So if you end up having any type of injuries, and obviously we know Christian McCaffrey is Mr. Do-It-All, then there is a good chance, right, where, things might end up happening where you might not be able to end up winning a game against a team that's inferior to you, like the Cleveland Browns. So obviously I was telling Chief Will Chief, he's kind of being carried right now by, by 3 players. Josh Allen, number 1 quarterback in fantasy. Christian McCaffrey, number 1 right running back in the NFL, and then Devontae Adams, a top 10 receiver. And I told them, if you got any kind of injuries between any of those 3 guys, your bench is a little weak, that other teams are going to catch up like me and reflect. And I'm not saying that I'm talking that into existence, but it's looking like that might have happened. And hopefully it ends up being just a short-term injury, because I don't want to see the Niners lose any steam. I want them and the Eagles to keep things moving. But injuries are a mother. They're a motherfucker, and like I said, especially at the running back position specifically, it seems like, most people are getting brutalized with the running back position a little bit more this year than last year. And I'm the only one out of the fantasy football draft that had their first pick in the draft go to IR. So at this point, obviously I know with Sarah, with Nick Chubb, obviously that didn't work out for you, and he ended up going to IR as well. But to be able to have Justin Jefferson, who normally puts up like 25 points for me, luckily I decided to go heavy wide receiver and not, heavy running back, thank God. And I still have Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I still have 3 number 1s, even though I lose Jay Jetta for the rest of the season or half of the season. I'm still going to stay afloat. But again, if I would have went my normal strategy and went running back heavy, I probably would be screwed right now. So we will see how it goes. Finley in the building. What's good? You guys played a little bit better initially in the start of the game. You were up 14-0, against the Dolphins. I knew you guys were going to lose, but Chuba Hubbard looked a lot better than Miles Sanders, at least initially early in the game. And here we go. Let's go, Tampa. Oh, baby. Lions. Buccaneers. Let's go. I'm so excited for this. And we haven't been able to wear these jerseys in 11 years, so this is pretty big. And I already had an Oregon Duck loss that was really painful. I won't lie. That game was one of the top 5 games in my history of being an Oregon Duck fan since like the 80s. That one hurt. I've had 3 victories, and I've had 2 painful losses. I had the Natty with Cam Newton, that loss, that one hurt. Right? That game last night, that one fucking hurt. I got 2 Rose Bowl wins, with LaMichael and obviously D'Anthony and Darren Thomas with Chip Kelly against Russell Wilson. That felt good. Right? We got another Rose Bowl victory against Wisconsin with Justin Herbert. That felt good. And then we ended up getting the Joey Harrington Fiesta Bowl win over Colorado. That one felt good. But I'm telling you, last night, that one did not feel good at all. And here we go. Creamsicles, baby. Let's go. Yeah, it's okay. The Washington is a better team than us. It's just true. Michael Penix Jr. is a better quarterback than Bo Nix. You can't win them all. And if I was a hater, I would just be like, fuck this, fuck that. But I'm not. I really respect the greatness. Rome Odunze is as an NFL wide receiver. Jalen McMillan is an NFL wide receiver. Michael Penix Jr. probably will win the Heisman based off that performance against Oregon. And, go all the way, win the Heisman, represent, because obviously USC and Oregon aren't good enough. Someone needs to represent. And your Beavers, I would say, are the top 4 team up there too. Washington, Oregon, USC, Oregon State. So you're doing big things too, big dog. Handoff. I got Rashad White and David Montgomery in fantasy starting, right? And I never do that. And I got Mike Evans and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I'm banking on both of these teams hopefully putting up some good stats for me, and that way I can end up getting first place in our fantasy league. But you know what? I really like rooting for your team, Marcos. Like, I might be the only Duck fan that truly wants you guys to win. Now, when we play each other, I want to beat you guys, right? But as of late, you guys have had our number, and you guys have been a quality team. Hell, you guys might be better than USC. No bullshit. I want to be able to see you guys play each other, USC and Oregon State. But you guys are right there with Oregon and USC. Yeah! Chris Godwin, first down, Buccaneers. So as you can see, I got the throwback hat. I got the Doug. And I even got the Bucko Bruce. I have this T-shirt that I got from my boy Jay Graves. Instead of it being Bucko Bruce's face, it's actually Tom Brady when he first came into the team, 3-4 years ago. And I haven't worn the shirt. It's been in my closet waiting for this game for 3 years. So this is the very first time that I'm able to represent the Brady Bucko Bruce T-shirt. No sleeves cut off of it, and I had to go all creamsicle, baby. You know, I ain't a bandwagon fan. I mean, I've been a fan for a long, long time. So let's go, baby. Moody miss. Browns win. Good. Good. I mean, I like rooting for the Niners and the Lions, but, you know, again, if you lose Christian McCaffrey, you can't expect to win that game. The Browns defense is actually pretty good, and sometimes that shit is going to happen, you know. Let's go, Baker. Trey Palmer incomplete. And, I mean, I don't care if you don't really like orange. Orange isn't really a big color for me. You know, I'm not really too big on it. But what I will say is these jerseys, these throwbacks are really, really nice. Let me refresh the scoreboard here. And the NFL should have updated their logos with the creamsicle with the Bucko Bruce, not the standard. But it looks like ESPN and NFL got like lazy and they decided not to update it. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. I got it in the corner for y'all. All right, here we go. Third down. Let's go to Mike Evans, baby. And Amon-Ra and Mike Evans had a little bit of an injury. I had to bench Laporta, which I didn't like. Floater, incomplete. Damn it. You know, because Laporta was going to be questionable. And so I was like, if he's got like a calf or whatever, and I got Mark Andrews playing in fucking London at 6 a.m, what happens if I bench Mark Andrews and then they say 90 minutes before the game, sorry, O-Dog, Laporta is not playing. Then I lose in fantasy. So I was forced to start Mark Andrews, even though I didn't want to, which is crazy because I have 2 of the top 4 tight ends in fantasy, right? But it worked out. He got me 11 points. Mark Andrews did. But I'll tell you what, Lamar Jackson and that Ravens team, they're not very good. You know, he doesn't throw the ball enough to fucking Mark Andrews. You know, I'm not sure if Lamar is a top 10 quarterback anymore. I know he can scramble and all, but that Ravens team does not look very good. Nice tackle. But I do like these jerseys and helmets and pants. The white jersey version is even better than the creamsicle version, where it's actually white and then the numbers are orange. They have an old school throwback of Steve Young, Mitchell and Ness that I would rock, definitely. But still, orange creamsicles are in the top 5. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Kelly Greens, they're going to wear pretty soon. They're in the top 5. The Seahawks throwbacks from the 80s that are in the top 5. The Houston Oilers with the Titans throwback, top 5. And I think the Patriots logo, you know, from back in the day with the guy kind of doing the 3-point stance. I think those are probably the 5 best throwbacks as far as jerseys, and we're going to get most of those this year. There we go. Amon-Ra St. Brown, first down, Lions. 2 of my favorite teams in the NFL going against each other while I wear the creamsicles. I couldn't ask for a better opponent. And I do love the Niners as well. You know, I like to root for the Niners and Lions. Obviously, I'm a Tampa Bay fan only. But if I'm watching those other 2 teams play, you know, growing up, watching Montana, Rice, Tom Rathman, Brent Jones, Dion, you know, I can root for them easily. And if I wasn't a Tampa fan, I'd probably be a Niner fan. But defense is what brought me to Tampa. Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks, John Lynch, and then obviously Mike Allstott on the offensive side. Nice little run there. I need big games from Montgomery. I need you to score once or twice. I need Rachaad White to get me at least a score or give me 10 points or more. I need Amon-Ra and Mike Evans to get in the end zone at least once each. And hopefully everything will be Gucci. And at the end of the day, I'll be in first place, tied at 5-1 in the Fantasy Football League. Let's go. This is the first time that I've actually played 4 pieces in one game out of, you know, a roster of 9 pieces. I mean, it's very risky, but I mean, can you really blame me? Rachaad White, Mike Evans, David Montgomery, and Amon-Ra. And I would have played Laporta too. Sam Laporta, move the chains. But again, you know, when you have guys like Hollywood Brown that had an illness and he was just cleared about an hour and a half ago, same thing with Sam Laporta. I don't know if I can risk putting someone in where I don't know if they're going to play 100% or not. So if I end up getting a bunch of points with Laporta on my bench or a lot of points from Hollywood Brown going against the Rams, so be it. But as long as I can win with Amon-Ra, Mike Evans, and Keenan Allen at my wide receiver spot, and Andrews gave me an 11, so that's still pretty good for a tight end. Goff, play action fake. Oh, good defense. Let's go, baby. What you know about this? Lions, Buccaneers. Let's go, baby. First time Baker on the thumb this year, too. Appreciate you, Marcos. $10 holla. Thank you, man. We've been definitely lacking in certain areas. I mean, I got us over 20,000 subs, and it just feels good to get appreciated for all the hard work. And, you're the only one, bro. You're the Khalif Raymond there with the short game, but you're the only one out of everybody that, there's people that front, in Oregon, and they say, oh, I watch your stuff. I know they don't. You're the only one that watches and shares, and there's no fronting. You've been a supporter even when I told you the dream of what I was going to do a couple years before I was actually going to do it. And I really do appreciate you. Your friendship and your support mean everything to me. Thank you so much, bro. Go Hawks. Third down and 7. Come on, Bucs. Those creamsicles look fucking icy, man. Rover, he says, shotgun set, Jared Goff. And complete. Yeah, I'm a little torn here because it's like I want the Lions to do well. I want the Bucs to do well. I want my fantasy team to do well, which would mean both teams have to do well. So I don't know how it's all going to play out. And I predicted to be not a biased fan, but what I really thought, I predicted that I thought that the Huskies were going to win 37-34. They won 36-33. That's as close as it can fucking get without hitting it right on the head, right? And then I predicted that the Lions were going to win today, even if the creamsicles came out. So if I'm wrong, I'm okay with that. I would love for Tampa to get a win. I need a little bit of joy in my life after that tough Duck loss and whatnot. Megan in the building. What's good? Tough weekend. USC, Caleb, 3 picks. Notre Dame finally came to play. Seahawks had a couple chances at the end of the game. I watched your game. That deep pass to Lockett. But I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, Geno this, Geno that. Geno's not the problem. It was the offensive line and then Trey Hendrickson and that defensive line kind of pushing their way in and getting some sack lunches. So the Seahawks will be fine. Seahawks will be fine. But, it definitely is tough when you end up having teams that you love with your heart and soul and then you cheer them on, you buy the merch, and then you get a painful loss. I mean, I had to go on like 3 fucking walks yesterday after that Duck loss. And I predicted that they were going to lose. But the problem is when the coach does something stupid, when it could have been prevented. It's like we actually had a chance to win that Duck game. And even though I predicted 37-34 Huskies, I didn't know it was going to be based off Dan Lanning pretending to beat Chip Kelly, trying to go for it on 4th down in the second quarter and the third quarter when he could have just took field goals. And if he would have did that, we would have won 39-36. But, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm not a fan of Dan Lanning and Mario Cristobal. I like to support him. But obviously, we've seen what he did at Miami when they had the game sewed up. He ran the play on 3rd down. Running back fumbled. Other team got the ball last week, threw 1 pass, got in the end zone. Miami loses. So Mario Cristobal isn't a very good coach either. So I don't know who the hell the Ducks are going to get in the future. But, it is what it is. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Hawks Nest. You guys are it's toxicity everywhere. But like I was telling you guys in that game with USC and Notre Dame, I told you it could go either way. Notre Dame is still a pretty good team, even though they had a couple close ones at the end of the game. They were in the top 10 almost the whole year, top 10, top 15. And at some point, you had to have thought that there was going to be a team that would maybe intercept, Caleb, or maybe the defense just can't hang on. And obviously, a lot of things happened in that game. I watched a good chunk of that game as well. But on the bright side for you, at least the Niners lost to the Browns. Christian McCaffrey's a little banged up, so we'll see how it goes. So that might get you guys a little bit more even. But it shows you, as much as you love USC or as much as you love Caleb, there's going to be some flaws. It's not going to be perfection every single week, And then we lost, you lost. And right now, you got to probably think that Washington and Oregon State are probably the 2 best, even though, we still got good rankings out of Oregon and USC. So we're all going to be kind of in the mix looking up at Washington. But good for them. Someone needs to represent our conference. I was hoping it would be me. You were hoping it was going to be Caleb and you. But unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be Washington. But you might be able to play them in the Pac-12 championship and get something going there. I intercepted. Damn it, Baker. That's all right, man. It was just a good play by the Lions. The Lions are a very good competitive team. And like I was trying to tell, Reflect, I thought that the Detroit Lions, even if we win, there we go, BUCS, there we go. We not Milwaukee Bucks, the Buccaneers, right? And also the Bucs are for the Pittsburgh Pirates, which is kind of weird as well. They call themselves the Bucs, the BUCS, which is weird. But I feel with like the Lions, they have the most balance offense, defense, all across the board underneath the Niners and the Eagles. So even though I think that the Buccaneers and the Seahawks are good, even if we were going to win today by 20, or even if the Seahawks would have won against the Bengals, I still think, even though the Seahawks beat the Lions in overtime, I still think if you're looking long term, this is the third best team in the NFC. And, you're going to see it in the outlets. I don't copy anybody else. I watch the games. I make my evaluation. But it really comes down to who's got a better O-line and D-line between the Lions, Seahawks, and Buccaneers. And it's clearly the Lions have a better O-line than the Seahawks and Bucs, and they have a better D-line than the Seahawks and Bucs. That's why I got to be able to put you there. And they got a lot of pieces that are similar, but just to me, it's about balance. And if you have good balance, right, you're going to be able to win a lot of football games. And this is the first year in like 20 years that the Lions actually have a full balanced team. So I'm going to reward them and give them that nod. I'm on Raw. Megan, we need to get on something. We need to get on that Kraken win streak. It's tough. So what is the Kraken record right now? Are we 0-2 or are we 0-3? We got to get a dub for Hack. We got to. I mean, like I said, I was thinking about doing, NBA, NHL, or, MLB playoffs coming in the week after Monday Night Football. I might have to do a Kraken game just to get our spirits up, to get things going. So 0-3. Oh, my. That's not good. All right, here we go. 2nd down and 7. Jared Goff and the Goffense. I'm a big fan of the whole team. Good defense. And I need points, baby. I need fantasy points. I need David Montgomery to score once or twice. I need Rashad White to give me at least 10 points, preferably score once. I need Amon Ra to get me 10 to 20. I need Mike Evans to get me 10 to 20. Otherwise, I mean, I could have ended up putting in Hollywood Brown, or I could have put in Sam Laporta. Those guys are on my bench. That's like a good problem to have when you have so many good players. You don't know what the fuck to do. 3rd down and 8. I hate to say this, but if it's an Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown, I would be thrilled. Shotgun set, 3rd down and 8. It's going to be a long game. Good defense by the Buccaneers. Vita Vea, that's my boy from University of Washington. Huskies, the best thing since Warren Sapp that we've had in a long, long time. Besides Ndamukong Suh that we had for a couple years. I'll give credit to him. But Vita is nice. Yeah, here we go. We got Lions going for a field goal, which doesn't help me one bit. And like I said, if I could choose one opponent, it's like almost like I don't know. It's like it was planned, or if it was like meant to be. But like I said, if I was going to do the creamsicles and I was going to play anybody, this would be the team that I would want to play. A top 3 team. Because obviously, if I play the Niners, I already played them, or I'm going to be playing them. I already played the Eagles, lost. If I played the Niners in this game, definitely I would lose unless McCaffrey got hurt like he did today. But a team that is balanced, similar to my own, a team that I can root for, and then if I lose to them, I'm not going to be angry. I'm rooting for them to do well. If they have to go through Tampa, so be it. I'm not going to be mad. Same thing with the Huskies. I'm not mad. The way Dan Lanning made me more mad than the Huskies winning. And honestly, out of all the players in college football that are playing, my favorite player in college football, even though I'm a Duck fan, is Michael Penix Jr. And it's been that way even before the big victory last night. And I hope that him and Caleb can be the superstars in the league and both can be top 10 quarterbacks, top 12 quarterbacks. And then hopefully we have others like Bo Nix, Quinn Ewers, Shedeur Sanders, and many, many others out of this draft class that are going to get drafted within the first 4 rounds. Out of the 10 or 12 quarterbacks that get selected, I'm hoping that we have 5 good ones, 2 elite, and then 3 that are above average. That's what I'm hoping, and that will make the NFL much, much better moving forward. Let's go, baby. 3-0 Lions. Marcos, what do you want to do for photos? You want me to throw up some hawk photos for you? I can throw them up for you, bro. This is so vintage and great. I wish I was able to convert this. This would have been an amazing background. Look at it, sold out in Tampa. Who says that they don't care about Tampa Bay Buccaneer football? And back in the day, they were 0-14 in 1976. Steve Spurrier, the head ball coach, was their quarterback. They were terrible. But the Bucs have had some pretty good players like Leroy Selman back in the day, Doug Williams, and the throwback that I'm wearing. So it is what it is. and then I had a hit with the Baker. And it was hard. I tried finding Mike Evans. I tried doing Levante David, and then I found one image I was able to convert, but he was facing the opposite direction. And sometimes with thumbs, you want to make sure they're kind of facing each other or straight ahead so it looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And then I got the Baker one to convert, and I was like, okay, perfect. I'm going to use the Baker. So 3-0 Lions. Pyro in the building. What's good? It's okay. It doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? It bothered me yesterday, and it wasn't really with the loss because I predicted the loss 37-34. It was 36-33. But I wish it wasn't up to Dan Lanning. I wish it was up to Bo Nix or the defense not playing well or Bo Nix throwing a pick. Then I'm like, okay. But when it's like we actually had a chance to win and you decided not to go for those field goals that we would have made, and then we ended up losing by 3. You kicked the 2 field goals, we would have won by 3. Those are the ones that irk me the most when you actually have a chance to win and you threw it away, you know. And I'll never be a Dan Lanning guy. Never, never, never. You know, I'll be a Chip Kelly guy. I'll be a Mike Pilati guy. But everyone else, not for me. So, yeah, Bo Jackson, I know. Steve Young and Bo Jackson were both on the Buccaneers, but Bo didn't want to play for Tampa because he thought they were trying to derail him, for his football career and baseball career at the same time. But could you imagine back in the 80s or early 90s if Steve Young didn't back up Joe Montana and we would have had Steve Young, Hall of Famer, throwing to Bo Jackson? Oh, my God. We definitely would have made the playoffs. It would have took a while to construct a team good enough. O-line, wide receivers. You had like Mark Carrier. You had a couple guys, but nothing special at wide receiver. Defense, Artie Nickerson and some of these other guys. It would have took some time. But if we would have had Steve Young and Bo, man, that could have been crazy. And coincidentally, those are some of my favorite players, even though they ended up playing for the Niners and the Raiders. Of course he was. But it shows you the defense, like I kept telling you, it wasn't me being a hater. The USC defense is not good, and at some point you're going to get exposed. And it's just one of those things you got to recruit heavier on that side. It's like the offense is great, but then if you ever have a game where the defense overachieves, right, and then they pick Caleb off, and then the defense isn't stopping anybody, then you're really screwed because you're really banking on Caleb getting 3, 4, 5, 6 touchdowns in a game. And then if he doesn't, and he gets 1 touchdown and 3 picks, then you're going to lose 100% of the time. So hopefully that they'll be able to work on that in the future. But it's not necessarily a defensive coordinator. It's a lack of talent on that side of the ball. Now, I mean, I've been watching USC football since the 80s. So, I mean, I know when they have good players and when they don't. You don't have any Troy Polamalu's out there on the team. Talanoa Hufungas. There's certain players that are like NFL, and you don't really have that NFL D linemen that are like, oh my God, top 5 pick, or linebacker, top 10, or oh, this corner and safety are going to be the next big thing. You don't have that. And I think that you guys will in the future, but sometimes we do get exposed. Your defense and my shitty coaching, with Dan Lanning. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But at least I can root for the Beavers to do well. And, let's have Michael Penix Jr. win the Heisman if it's not Caleb Williams and represent the Pac-12 properly. And who knows, maybe Washington could win the Natty or compete with some of those other teams. They're 5th in the nation now. Come on, Baker. Tipped? Oh. Well, I told you, Matt, we watched the game, and I told you, you know what I'm saying? Like, Mario Cristobal, I liked a little bit more than Dan Lanning because he reminded me of Dan Campbell, a little bit more hands-on, But even Mario Cristobal is a fucking idiot going for it on 3rd down, running the ball, fumbling for the, Hurricanes last week. The other team got the ball, threw a pass, game over, and they got in the end zone. And he's done that twice. So, it shows you Chip Kelly's and Mike Pilates don't grow on trees. And until we get someone like that, we're not going to be able to beat really, really good. Trust me, dude. That shit was painful. I was very, very upset and irritated. I had to go take like an hour walk with Paisley after the game. Then I had to, just kind of watch some other games and just try to clear my head a little bit. Then I had to go on another walk late last night, again. And like I said, if Bo Nix or the defense would have fucked up, I wouldn't have felt this bad because I predicted 37-34. But I didn't predict that Dan Lanning would be the reason that we lost that game with his dumb decisions. I will never forgive him for that, ever, But the Huskies are the better team. You have to give it to him. Michael Penix Jr. is better than Bo Nix, Because imagine if we had Michael Penix Jr. or if we had Caleb Williams, right? We love Bo, right? Bo knows we love Bo, but let's be honest. Who's a better quarterback overall? Those two are a little bit better. Not by a bunch, but as far as who's better now, those guys are, and who's going to be better in the NFL, those guys are. Bo Nix has a chance to be like a Baker Mayfield if he can find his right team, but I don't know if anyone really thinks that Bo Nix can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't. I think that he will have to earn it or wait for someone to get hurt and then eventually try to be like Baker Mayfield. And if he can find a team like the Buccaneers, then maybe he'll be able to do something at some point. But Michael Penix Jr. and Caleb will start right away, and hopefully they both end up being top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL moving forward. I mean, I got to root for the Pac-12. It's our last year, you know what I mean? 3-0 Lions. I need fantasy points, damn it. I can't lose. Mahomes, Rashad White, Montgomery, and Monroe, Mike Evans, Mark Andrews, Keenan Allen, Buffalo D, and Maher. And I got Laporta, Hollywood Brown, CJ Stroud, Dem Mercado, KJ Osborne, Jalen Warren, Tampa Bay D, and I got Jay Jetta on IR, which sucks. I'm the only one that's got a player on IR in the first pick in the first round. But now if I would have went McCaffrey, he just got hurt. So, nobody's going to be untouchable. So, Colorado, Buffalo's collapse to Stanford. Yeah, I did that game. I did that game on Friday because I had a feeling that game would be a little bit closer because sometimes USC's defense is suspect. Colorado's is terrible. They're even worse than USC's, and they were up 29-0. And then Stanford came back, had one of the catches of the year. One of their receivers almost had 300 yards receiving, right? And then they ended up coming back and winning that game in overtime. So, yeah, you got to put him on IR. So obviously you just had it on your bench. Before the games would have started, you need to plug him into that IR spot, and then that will allow you, Megan, to pick up another player on the wire to help you out. So I would recommend doing that after this week. Put him on IR after all the waivers clear, and you can keep him on there if you like. I don't know if he'll be back later in the year or if they're going to have him out for the whole year. We'll have to wait on how serious that AC joint shoulder injury is. Sarah will have some additional information because she's a Colts fan. But if you still want to see what's going to happen and you don't want to get rid of him, just put him on the IR slot, and then you can get another quarterback with the open slot that you have. So 3-0 Lions. Let me get a couple of photos for Marcos, even though he may not be in the room anymore. Marcos, are you still in the room or are you out of the room? It shows you how important O-line and D-line is. You could be a 10 or 11 win, team in the NFL. But if your O-line and D-line have problems, eventually it's going to come back and bite you. It's going to bite you against a really good opponent, like, for example, the Niners against the Seahawks, possibly. Or you're going to play an opponent that you think you're better than, like the Bengals, right? And the Bengals look like shit at the beginning of the year. They looked really good last week with Burrow and Jamar Chase, but you guys contained them for a majority of the game. But sometimes at the end of the game, you're going to need that O-line to dig deep. And if they don't have enough pieces up front, sometimes guys, like Hendrickson will come through and make a big sack or multiple sacks. And then it ends up being kind of like, damn, we gave one away. So O-line and D-line are the most important. Come on, Montgomery. I want my Bucs to win, but I need some fantasy points. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how long he's going to be out for, and if you want to pick up someone else on the wire in the time being, Second down and 6. Man in motion. Goff. Play action fake. Laporta. And the Buccaneers defense is very, very good. I mean, I think a lot of people are sleeping on us a little bit. We have a very, very good defense. If our defense and our offensive line did not play well this season, we would not And I repeat, not be 3-1 with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Baker has been phenomenal on third down. He's been very efficient. Our running game has not been very good. Mike Evans has been good. Godwin has been average to above average. So it's pretty much been like Mike Evans and Baker. But really, the MVP has been Tristan Wirfs, that offensive line, but primarily the Tampa Bay defense. Amon-Ra St. Brown, first down, Lions, move the chains. I tried finding a spinning logo of Bucko Bruce, but I couldn't find it. But we got the Lions one. Yeah, and then if it ends up being season ending, then you can just drop them. But I would wait until you find out for sure if it's season ending, and then you can pick up a couple quarterbacks. Let's go, Amon-Ra. I need a big game from you, boy. And you were out of my lineup last week. You know, I had a lot of my studs out, and I ended up losing my first game of the year, which made me very upset. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, if you got 5 guys that you normally play with out of your 9 that are either injured or they can't play or have a bye week, it's impossible to come back. I mean, hell, I've made like almost 60 moves on the wire, and I still can't ever win that game every year, even though I prepare myself every year to have as much, you know, backup talent to fill in. But, you know, you can't replace, you know, Jay Jetta, you know, 25 to 40 points. You can't replace Amon-Ra St. Brown typically. Maybe with a guy like Hollywood Brown, he's averaged about 17 points. But some of my top tier guys like Evans, Keenan Allen, Jay Jetta, they have the ability to get 10 or 15, but they also have the ability to get 15 to 50. And some of those guys will get 30 or 40 points. And if that happens, I mean, that gets you a victory, you know? But I'm trying to get Chief will Chief. I got to be able to get first place back. And I think I'm going to have a good chance, but I need these guys to start stepping up here. Come on, baby. Montgomery, I need you, boy. Let's get those likes up. 3rd down and 2. Best game of the weekend right here. Tampa bringing the blitz. Goff. Oh, what happened to my hands? Great defense by Levante David. And he's the only one that was on this team in his rookie year when we debuted these jerseys in 2012. The last time that we actually wore these jerseys was 11 years ago. Hell, I don't think I've wore this hat for 11 years. Like, no lie. It's been sitting in, you know, the fucking drawer or the closet for a long, long time. And I usually wear the creamsicle jersey once a season, but this has been a good game so far. Good defense on both sides, but I need fantasy points. Come on now. I need these teams to get into the 20s or the 30s. I can't have a 13-10 game. 20 doll hairs. Let's get to Ondo. All right, let's get a couple more Seahawk photos for Marcos. Yeah, but I usually don't let too many games, you know, get to me. But of course, you guys already know how much of a hardcore, you know, Duck fan I am, Mariner fan I am, Buck fan I am. I mean, those are going to be the top 3. So anytime we have a big game and we have a big loss, that shit will weigh on me. But as far as, you know, the other matchups, it usually doesn't bother me as much. But especially when you have so much on the line, you know, both teams 5-0. Both teams ranked in the top 10. That hasn't happened in over 100 years. In our 100-year plus existence, that never happened. But you know, the better team won. And you know, if the game was in Austin and Eugene, we would have won that game. I think, even with all the hype and whatnot with you know, Michael Penix Jr. But we had a chance last year. Bo Nix got hurt. We lost at the very end of the game because Tyler Thompson is dog do. And he's Bootios, and you know, the better team won. And sometimes it's just how it has to be. But I don't want Michael Penix Jr. to win the Heisman if he's going to end up being a bust in the NFL. If it's like, you know, that pressure of like, oh, you won the Heisman, but then all of a sudden, you know, it's like if you get picked in the first 2 picks at quarterback or you win the Heisman, you better be really fucking mentally strong because if you're not, that might end up derailing a career. So hopefully, if we end up getting Caleb and Michael Penix Jr. 1-2 in the draft, I really hope that they're mentally strong, which I think they are. But everyone thought Jameis and Marcus Mariota were the best thing since sliced bread, and both of them didn't pan out. So great in college, both won the Heisman, both won. One got a natty, Florida State, and obviously we tried getting one with Mariota, but we just, some guys are just not built for the NFL. Like, some guys, bodies are brittle, and some guys, are just good enough to be at college and they hit their ceiling, and that's as good as they're going to get. They're not going to get any better than what they were in college, and that was Jameis Winston. So. Well, it's good for the Niners to lose, but also, just to get that loss out of the way and whatnot. Obviously, you don't want to necessarily lose to the Browns, but I already knew that they were going to have a good chance to lose that game because McCaffrey went out with an injury. And if McCaffrey goes out, that's a big part of their team, obviously. Number one running back, in the NFL, scores every fucking game. Sometimes he scores 2, 3, 4 times in a game. Come on, Baker. Go, Bake. Go, Bake. Hey, Tampa Bay. Let's go. But I'll tell you what, I'll never pick Patrick Mahomes in fantasy ever again. I'm going Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts. That's it. Unless they end up getting like Mike Evans added on to on on the team on Kansas City next year. If they get something like that, then yeah, I'll consider Patrick Mahomes. But that wide receiving core, booty O's. Besides Travis Kelce, but he's a tight end. Short game. A Bucs win would be huge. But if the Lions win, that would be big for them too. I mean, both teams want to win, but I think, like I said, with like the Seahawks and the Buccaneers, we're a good story, but we're not as good as the Lions, the Niners, or the Eagles, in my opinion, long term. Could the Seahawks and the Buccaneers make the playoffs and beat someone? Yes, but I just still think that even if we end up winning this game, and even if we win big, I still think the Lions are the better team long term. There we go, Godwin. First down, Buccaneers. Creamsicles, baby. Yeah, I think we can beat USC at home, but the problem is Matt, we're probably going to lose to Oregon State at the end of the year. Don't be surprised if we lose that game. They kind of have our number. They're playing good football. They got Martinez at running, and they got some nice ukulele. They finally got a transfer at quarterback. Like, I feel that we could win, but I feel that we have a better chance of losing against Oregon State than we do USC. And if we play like shit against USC, we could obviously lose that, but we're going to be in front of those fans, and I think those fans will will us to a victory in that game. But Caleb will probably still end up throwing for 3-4 touchdown passes, but we just got to hope that Bucky goes off and we can get enough. Maybe we can get a lucky interception off Caleb, 1 or 2, and then maybe we can end up winning that game, by 3 points, 10 points, something like that. So. Yeah, I absolutely think the Bucs can win 10 or 11, just kind of like the Seahawks, but it's like we're more of like kind of like a wild card team. It's like we're dangerous, but we don't have as much of a good O-line and D-line compared to the Lions and the Niners and the Eagles. And when you have good O-line and D-line, you end up being the best teams in the NFL. And coincidentally, I think that obviously the Eagles, the Niners, and the Lions could be the top 3 teams in the NFL. I think the Bucs and Seahawks are close, to the Lions. And obviously you got the Chiefs and you got the Bills and you got the Dolphins and you got the Jags over there as well. And those teams are pretty good. But all those teams have issues with O-line or D-line or both. So it's like, I don't know if I trust those AFC teams. They have quarterbacks, but what about defense? What about O-line, D-line? There's a lot of kind of question marks on the AFC. That conference is much weaker than the NFC this year. Yeah. I'm just keeping it real because I'm not biased. You know what I mean? I've watched every Beaver game, so I know how good they are. And I'm telling you, bro, like, even if we would have beat Washington and even if we would have played USC and Austin in November and beat them, that would have been the trap game where we were like, oh, we're going to go undefeated. And then the Beavers beat us like by 13. Like, I could definitely see that game being super, uber competitive. So you got the Cards at home. It's a trap game because obviously it's a divisional opponent like the Rams. But if you guys take care of business on the O line and the D line, you guys will win. You just got to get Kenneth Walker going early and often. They don't have James the Terminator Kana, right? He's obviously on IR. So they got DeMarcardo and they got some other backups in there. And he could still score on you. But I think that if you guys just take care of Hawk football at home, even though it's a trap game, I think you can win. So we're on the same page, Megan. What anytime it's that divisional matchup, first thing that you think, records go out the window. The Cardinals or Rams could be 0-4, 0-5, and the Hawks could be 4-1 or 5-0. And you always know, no matter what, from now into the end of time, those are always going to be trap games. Start of the second quarter, 3-0 Lions. Give me some fantasy points, damn it. Keyshawn Vaughn with a short game. The O-line and D-line are very, very important. You got to be able to have that protection. You got to be able to have that pressure. You can't win games if you can't pull, if you can't run block, you can't pass block, you can't pull, and you can't win games if you can't get pressures, deflections, sack lunches. You have to be able to, win that line of scrimmage. And if you do that, you can do it with average players at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end and win games big. It's better to have elite O-line and elite D-line rather than elite quarterback, elite running back, elite wide receiver, elite tight end, and dog shit line. Because if that happens, you're not going to do anything. I mean, look at the Chiefs in the Super Bowl against the Bucs. They literally had the best coach, Andy Reid, the best quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, the best tight end, Travis Kelce, and I prevented them from scoring even one touchdown pass. So it shows you defense does win championships, and winning that line of scrimmage is everything. Third down and 12. And like I said, I've always been a defensive guy, but I've been blessed with Tampa actually having somewhat of an offense since 1995, which feels pretty good. Baker, there we go. Oh, he dropped it. Fuck, Mike. Mike. My fantasy. I could have started Hollywood Brown over you. What are you doing? Mike, you're a Hall of Famer. Come on, bro. That's a rare drop. Mike drops a couple a year. A couple a year, not a couple a game, a couple a year. Golly, why did it have to be there? Bucs with the punt. But it shows you both of these defenses are good, and that's why the fucking score is 3-0. Our offenses can score points, but when you got good defense, you're running in the mud a little bit. All right, we got Raiders 10, Patriots 3, Lions 3, Bucs 0, Cardinals and Rams knotted up at 3, Eagles 7, Jets 0, and then final score, Ravens 24, Titans 16. I woke up at 6 a.m. to watch that game in London. Commanders 24, Falcons 16. Even though they said Desmond Ridder is undefeated at home, usually when he plays at home, didn't matter. Bengals 17, Seahawks 13. Offensive line needs just to be a little bit better for the Hawks, and they could have got that dub. Jags 37, Colts 20. It was much worse than that. It was like 24-3. So at least the Colts and Gardner Minshew end up fighting back. It could have been much worse. Panthers were up 14-0, but lost 42-21 to the Dolphins. Vikings 19, Bears 13. Justin Fields got hurt. Browns 19, Niners 17, an upset win because Christian McCaffrey got injured in the first half. Texans 20, Saints 13. Saints fans are not going to be happy. CJ Stroud is the truth, and it shows you that even though he may not have all the pieces in line, and obviously we know that Bryce Young still got a ways to go for supporting cast, and AR is injured, CJ is the man, and he looks like the guy that's going to be able to take off. And I'm not saying he'll be the only one that pans out. I think Richardson could too, but unless they get a lot of things turned around with Bryce, it's going to take longer for him, but I wouldn't count him out yet. But him being so undersized, it doesn't help. And then we got Giants and Bills on Sunday night. And then Chiefs won 19-8 against the Broncos. And then on Monday night, we got the Cowboys and the Chargers. So after this game is over, I am not going to do the Bills and the Giants because we already know the Bills are going to win by like $1 billion. So I'm going to end up doing reaction videos. So hopefully I can end up getting us some more subs to get us over 20,100. And I can hopefully get into the algorithm and try to do as many as I can. So after this game is over, I'm going to do reaction videos until I don't know what time. I'm going to do them until probably 9 or 10 at night. Try to do 4 or 5 or 6 of them as long as I have the energy. Then do another 4, 5, or 6 maybe on Monday. And we will do the Chargers and the Cowboys. And Justin Herbert has a broken finger, but hopefully that doesn't, affect my Keenan Allen fantasy stats. So. And I got Bucs defense, but obviously I didn't play them. I'm always looking ahead. But I need my top dogs to do some stuff here. I mean, especially when he's got Josh Allen, and Josh Allen could end up having like 40 points, and I could lose this week. Come on, Rachaad White. Come on, Montgomery. Come on, Amon-Ra. Come on, Mike Evans. Help your boy out. Let's go. Defense wins championships, and that's why both of these teams, could end up upsetting, some teams, even if you think that they wouldn't be able to. But still, with that being said, your offense still needs to produce some points, unless you're like an elite defense that can actually get a couple touchdowns in a game, like back with like the 2002 Bucs and the 2000 Ravens and the 85 Bears. Like the three big defensive teams in the last 40 years. Those teams could hold offenses to 17 points or less, and on top of that, they could end up getting a touchdown or two on defense to really change the tables and flip the script. But these defenses here aren't as good as those, but every once in a while you'll get some spectacular defense. Third down and 8. Jamel Dean's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Jamel Dean, my boy. 4th down and 2. I do miss Sean Murphy Bunting. I saw that he ended up getting a pick, earlier today, and it's just crazy when you have like so many players that that you feel comfortable with in the secondary, and then you see one guy go to the Jets and get 3 picks, in that game against Josh Allen, and then you see Sean Murphy Bunting move on, and him trying to do some things. It's like I wish we had that same unit with Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean with those guys, but the NFL is a business. You can't keep everybody. Fair caught. He probably should have took that. All right, we should be able to get a field goal here at the very minimum. Let's go, baby. 3-0 Lions. I knew it was going to be a defensive battle, but this is even shocking for me. I felt that even it knew it was going to be a defensive battle. I was like, both offensive lines are pretty good too. So I was like, oh man, this one is really. This could be like a playoff preview. And I mean, who knows who the better team is, really? I mean, it may come down to whoever's at home, but maybe that doesn't even matter either. There we go, Rashad. There we go, Rashad. I mean, I decided to start you over DeMarco, so you don't let me down, bro. Don't let me down. DeMarco's only got 0.5, so I think I'm good so far. Laporta 3.9, Hollywood Brown 2.3, but Rachaad White 2, Montgomery 1. Mike Evans doesn't have anything. At least Amon-Ra's got 7 so far. Come on now. Well, Bucs are too. The game is 3-0. If both of our defense were at booty cheeks, the game would be at a 10 or 13 or 17 or 20 by now. 3-0. I mean, both O-lines are playing well. Both D-lines are playing well. You're not really being able to get Montgomery going or Rachaad White. And even the passing game, I mean, hell, Mike Evans really hasn't. I mean, we saw Godwin with a couple catches, but these two teams kind of mirror each other, very, very similar. Second down and 7. And both of these teams should win the division. NFC South, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and NFC North, Detroit Lions. And then obviously with the Eagles and the Niners winning the NFC East and the NFC West, but then we also got to throw in the Seahawks getting into the playoffs too. They're going to get in, right? And then we have to see. I don't think the Saints or anybody else in the NFC South is going to get in. We're only going to have one team, right? And then the Hawks and the Niners, you'll have two there. Maybe Green Bay, maybe not. So it might end up being like Dallas, by default, that they might end up being the last playoff spot. It'll either be Dallas or Green Bay probably for the last spot in the playoffs with 9 or 10 wins. And we already know that they're kind of pretenders. Probably Dallas, I would assume, over Green Bay. Baker! Yeah! First down, Buccaneers. Baker, Mayfield, bake, Baker, bake. Bake the cake, Baker. Yeah. Well, games on the road, Seattle traditionally, just like every other team, struggles. It's hard. Even though I think you guys are way better than the Bengals, but it shows you in the NFL, it doesn't matter. And anybody can beat anyone. And a lot of games end up getting decided by 7 points or less. So just one more first down, one less bad throw, and maybe the outcome is a little bit different. Or maybe if the offensive line would have just played better in that fourth quarter on those last two drives, if they could have just blocked for Geno for one more second on each of those plays, then you end up winning the game. Because all you needed is just a little bit more time. But also, too, Trey Hendrickson is one of the best pass rushers, and one-on-one, he's very hard to block. So even though, Burrow hasn't been very good this year, and that offense has been kind of, stinky besides last week, when him and Jamar Chase linked up for like 3 tutties. Sometimes defense will end up winning the game, and that's what happened, unfortunately, for your Hawks in that Bengal matchup. Because I think overall the game was pretty good, and everyone wants to be like, "Oh, Geno this, Geno that," but that tells me if you're saying that you don't know football. It's offensive line. It's not just Geno. I mean, Geno doesn't want to throw just a shit pass, and obviously he doesn't want to hang on to the football too long either. He's not an idiot, But if he's got guys up in his face as soon as the ball is hiked, what are you supposed to do? You're trying to run away, but sometimes they're faster and they're stronger and they throw you down. I mean, that's what happened. So I don't think the Hawks really played a bad game, but again, it's like when the game was over and he got that sack lunch, he had that long 30-plus yard pass to Lockett to get you into the field goal range and to get you in the end zone again. But again, it's just sometimes those tough, losses that are close, they hurt the most, especially when you think that you had a chance to win and that you could have won. Though, it's one thing to get blown out and you're like, God damn it, we lost by, 17, no chance to win. But when you lose by 7 or less, that shit is painful as hell. Trust me, I know. I mean, look at my teams that I fucking root for. Blazers, misery all the time. Buccaneers, a lot of misery. And instead of just as of late, it's gotten better with the Brady and Gronk. But, from 2009 to all the way to 2020 or 2008 to 2020, I had 12 years of misery. The Ducks, never good enough to win the Natty, but we can win Rose Bowls. And obviously, with the Buccaneers, obviously I was able to get 2 Super Bowls with them and no losses, which is great, but it's not always peaches and cream, for a lot of my teams either, And then obviously with the Mariners, So it's like we started to do pretty good last year, and then we failed at the end of this year where we could have made the playoffs and did something, but it's about being a sport fan and being loyal. It's not going to always go your way unless you're a bandwagon fan and you just jump teams every year. You got to go through the pain and the misery, but then you will get the joy, and it will mean even more to us when it happens. Go, baby, go! Oh, and the Kraken on top of that too. Gosh, it's like, man, we need to get some victories in our life, All right, Rashad White's got 4. Montgomery only has 1. Mike Evans still has 0. Come on now. Come on, baby. I need a Mike Evans touchdown or a Rashad White touchdown. Let's go. Come on, baby. Panda Express. Call it, Baker. Play action fake. Incomplete. What's the worst start that we've had to the beginning of the season? This is our third season for the NHL. Did we start off? We didn't start off 0-3 in the first two seasons, did we? What about that first year, our inaugural season? Did we start off 0-3? Or did we end up getting a dub within the first three games in those first 2 years? I assume that we won at least one game within the first three last year, the year that we made the playoffs. But that first year being the expansion team, we might have started off 0-3. I can't remember. Yeah, Debo got hurt too. Debo gets hurt. Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. I mean, hard to be able to, even with, Ayuk and Kittle and Purdy, you know, it happens. And it might have been a little bit of karma with the Niners trying to fight the Browns in pregame. Some of those guys were up there kind of talking shit unnecessarily. And sometimes when you end up being a little bit extra, the sports gods find a way to punish you with a little lightning strike of an injury. Anytime you end up being extra, and you're doing more than you need to, the sports gods will punish you. Believe that. And there was a little bit of chippiness in that game where they were trying to talk shit and push the players and headbutt them. I mean, it's a fucking Cleveland Browns. You're the goddamn Niners. Why are you doing that? There's no point, besides them talking shit back and forth. So, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Is that your alter ego? No, but I do remember him in the chat. I mean, hell, there was I don't know, him and another like 300 or 400 people that I've had to boot. Shotgun set, tipped, and complete. Can we just go to Mike Evans, please? Don't go away from what you know is your strong suit this year. Baker Mayfield to Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield to Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield to Mike Evans. That's what has gotten the dubs for us. Come on now. You guys can root for the Lions if you want. You don't need to root for me. I already know what my team is. I'm completely comfortable with who my team is and where they're at. Not everyone's gonna like them. The Lions are a lot more likable than Tampa Bay is. I'm just a fan. So, Chase McLaughlin, let's go, baby. Kick is up, and he doinked it, but he made it, and it's good. I can't believe he doinked it and got in. Doink! Thank God. A lot of players are. You got to think a lot of wide receivers are divas, and a lot of them talk a lot of shit, and that's why corners and wide receivers go back and forth, back and forth. It's like to try to get in their head, but some of the people, they think, oh, the quarterback or maybe the linebacker is talking shit or whatever, or maybe this defensive lineman. If you really look at it, wide receivers are probably the biggest divas in the NFL, and they probably talk just as much as shit as any top defensive player. D lineman, D tackle, DN, middle linebacker. You'll get some corners that will obviously turp back, and you'll get some safeties if they have some swagger. They'll say something as well. But normally, if you think of shit talking, you think of D lineman or a linebacker. You know what I mean? But wide receivers, being divas, even some of our favorites, they love to talk. They love, 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 love to talk shit. All right, Megan, no problem. Lots of injuries, man. 20 doll hairs, 80 to go. This is a little shocking, though. I didn't think it would be such a defensive battle. I knew the defense would play good for both teams today, but I never thought it would be 3-3. Oh, bourbon chicken sandwich and fries. That sounds delicious. Let's go, baby. Oh my God, Penn State, Ohio State. You know I'm watching that. That's the biggest game of the year prior to that Oregon and Washington matchup that we had yesterday. This Penn State, Ohio State is big, 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 big. Number 3 versus number 6. Like number 7 versus number 8, man. Special. Go, Montgomery. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Yeah. First down, Lions. Move the chains. Ragnow. Uh-oh, get up, Montgomery. Fuck. Now he's injured? Son of a bitch. All my guys are getting injured in fantasy. Fuck, 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 fuck. And Gibbs is not even playing in the game. Seriously, if Montgomery goes down, the Lions season would be like in a big, big trouble spot for sure. Get up, David. I need you in fantasy. You're my RB1. Come on. We only went down one spot. We went to 9. We went from 8 to 9. And then the Huskies went from 7 to 5. Oh, golly, man. Montgomery is up. Fuck, I hope he comes back in the game. I might lose in fantasy again now. If Montgomery's out for the rest of the game, I'm screwed. Fuck. Yeah, but I don't think we're going to be able to. Is it going to be based off record or is it going to be based off North versus South? Or did they try to eliminate that? I mean, if we could play them again, that would be cool, but I would assume it will be someone else. Oregon State versus Washington would be good. I mean, of course, if we could get a rematch, that would be nice. And then we have to take care of USC and Oregon State first before we even think about any of that other stuff. Second down and 10. Josh Reynolds, first down, Lions, move the chains. Yeah, but it also shows you, Matt, those good times with Bilotti and those good times with Chip Kelly. You get all these other guys that are just rentals, and when you get these guys, they're just not the right people. We need to get someone that like really does care, that is like from here, like how the Beavers brought in Jonathan Smith, who was the former quarterback. Like, too bad Joey Harrington isn't smart enough to be a head coach, because if we could get someone like that and recruit that type of way, that could be big for us. Not some fucking outsider from fucking Georgia that's just going to leave as soon as Kirby Smart gets fired and he takes that job, or all of a sudden Mario Cristobal's alma mater gives a call and then he leaves. It's like, I want to be able to have a coach for like 10 years and not have to worry about it, like a franchise quarterback, but I get it. It's all about money, but there's no fucking loyalty. And honesty, loyalty, and respect are the three biggest things to me in my life. And in sports, you don't really see a lot of that. The Gators have turned it around after that loss to Utah that I did. Remember that game that we did right when Swamp Kings came out, right? And there's been a few games where they've actually kind of like turned it around a little bit. ETN and whatnot. Oh, there goes David Montgomery going to the fucking tunnel. That's fantastic. Hopefully he just got the wind knocked out of him, and hopefully it's not like a clavicle or a AC joint or a shoulder. Hopefully he'll be all right. And Sewell, my boy. What are the chances that I'm playing Chief Will Chief, who's 5-0, and I'm 4-1, and Christian McCaffrey and David Montgomery, both our number one running backs, get hurt in the same fucking game? What are the chances, sports gods? I mean, is that what we're doing? I mean, something good has to happen for me. I either have to have the Buccaneers win or I have to be able to win in fantasy. Something's got to give. Goff out of bounds, short gain. Mertz has finally turned it around. Good for you, man. I know things were looking kind of shaky in the beginning of the season. You're like, oh no, we're going to lose a shitload of games. So even though it's not like Tim Tebow, type of vibe or anything like that, I mean, 5-2 is pretty fucking good considering you don't even have the proper recruits yet. In that team with Mertz moving forward. Give it a couple of years. Second and long. Nothing there. Our defense is playing fantastic. And that's why with Tampa and the Lions, they're the biggest threats to the Eagles and the Niners if they have injuries. If they have slight injuries to some of their guys like McCaffrey or Debo, or if like A.J. Brown and Fletcher Cox go down, they have a couple injuries, then a team like a Tampa or a Lions could upset a team like that. But if they're full strength, Niners and Eagles, no one's beating them. And that's how the Browns were able to win today with McCaffrey and Debo getting hurt. Go him on Raw. Go him on Raw. Block for him. Yeah. Yeah. The one time that I can actually get excited. What a huge, huge block right there. And I mean, fucking hey, if I'm going to end up losing somewhere, I got to be able to make up for the Montgomery and everything else. Josh Reynolds with a big block. Look at this. Bang, baby. I'm on Raw. I need you to score 3 times today, baby. Extra point is up, and it's good. There we go. Give me some fantasy points, baby. Hell yeah. I need that. I need that. Now I still need Mike Evans and I need Rachaad White to get tutties as well in the second half. And then if Montgomery is out for the rest of the game, I guess, but I hope he comes back and can get me at least a 10. And I hope he's okay moving forward, because if he has a serious injury, I am screwed. Like, I literally have Rachaad White, David Montgomery, and DeMarcado, and that's it. And Jaylen Warren. At least Jaylen Warren I know can get me like 10 points, because in PPR. And I almost started DeMarcado. Thank God I didn't. He's at 0.5 right now. I had him in the lineup, and I just felt weird about it. And I thought, you know what? Even though the Lions defense is awesome, I was like, Rachaad White is either going to get me 6 or 7 points, or he's going to get 15 to 20 if he gets in the end zone. So I was like, fuck it. I might as well just go with him because he'll get more targets, and they're going to split carries, with DeMarcado and a few other running backs with, James Conner being on IR. So glad I did that, because I would be killing. I'd be so pissed, sitting at my RB2 spot and I have a 0.5. That would be terrible. $20 hairs. Let's get to a hundo. Feels good to be able to wear it, man. It's a nice custom shirt too. 3 years it's been sitting in the closet. Right when Brady came to Tampa. 4 years just sitting in there. I was like, you know what? I need a white. I was just trying to get a white undershirt to wear, but I was like, nah. I was like, I'll bust it out. Toby in the building. What's good, Toby? So, Toby, I'm going to give it to you really real. You know how I always tell you, if you guys are good enough, if you're not good enough, right? And you always, oh, we're good enough to make the Super Bowl. And I'm like, no. Oh, we're good enough to make the AFC Championship game. And I'm like, no. Moving forward with the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? From this point moving forward on, right? You guys are good enough to represent in the AFC. And you're going to hear it from me first. So you got the Chiefs, but their wide receiving core is suspect. Defense is suspect, right? Mahomes is suspect. The Bills, Josh Allen is the truth. Diggs is the truth. But the defense has a bunch of injuries. Tre'Davious White, right? And Matt Milano out for the year. So there's wiggle room. You beat them in London, right? Then you got to go to the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek and Tua and Waddle. They're good. Raheem Mostert, right? But the defense, kind of suspect. And then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who might actually have the best offense and defense, maybe besides the Buffalo Bills, like as far as like well-roundedness. They're kind of like a Buccaneers and a Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars are. So I feel that you guys could end up making it, to the AFC Championship game, or at least make the playoffs, win the AFC South, compete with the Texans for the crown, right? And then maybe you guys, get to the first round. Maybe you lose. Maybe you win one game. Maybe you win 2 games. Maybe you make it to the AFC Championship game. Now, I don't think the Jags are good enough necessarily to represent the AFC this year, but I do think that you are one of the top 4 teams in the AFC. I would put you guys right there with the Dolphins, right there with the Bills and the Chiefs. And if I didn't say that, I wouldn't say that. Trevor is nice. Like I said, that's the closest thing, as far as like an NFC team. Like if you were to compare, the Jags are like the Lions and the Buccaneers. They got offense, they got defense, they're pretty well rounded. Now, I don't think their O line is as good as Tampa's or Detroit's, but as far as like you're competing against like the Chiefs and the Bills and the Dolphins, those will always be more popular, right? Like just like with Tampa and the Lions, the Eagles and the Niners and the Cowboys and some of these other teams are going to be more popular, but popular doesn't win you Super Bowls or get you to the AFC Championship game. You just got to be hot and healthy at the right time. So that's a good question. Honestly, if we could get Chip Kelly back, even though I know that wouldn't happen, but getting Chip Kelly back for Oregon would make me happy, because like I said, he's the only one that I really like besides him or Mike Bellotti. Bellotti's too old. He's a grandpa now. So it's like, he's like grandpa. So it's like Bellotti ain't coming back. I like, Rich Brooks started it. Mike Bellotti, took over and took us to the next level with Joey Harrington, and then Chip Kelly got us over the top. But even though we didn't win a Natty, but we at least won a Rose Bowl. So it's like I feel like Mike Bellotti is a comparison to like Tony Dungy for my Bucs. Very, very good, very, very steady, but kind of conservative. And then you had to get John Gruden, and give you that explosive play calling to get us over the top and win the Super Bowl. And that's what Chip did. Chip was able to get us over the top and go a little bit further than what Mike Bellotti was able to do for us. So I don't know, man. I mean, like, Urban Meyer, even though he's, kind of, I don't know if he would ever, coach again. I don't know if he's just going to do TV, but I think like Chip Kelly, I don't know if that, because the whole thing, that reason that Chip Kelly left is Chip Kelly left because the sanctions were going to come down on Oregon with like illegal recruiting tactics for like LaMichael James, D'Anthony, and a lot of players. But hell, everyone's doing it. But still, he didn't want Oregon to get a ban, like a bowl ban. That's why he went to the NFL. If he was, like if he didn't, push the boundaries a little bit, then maybe he would have stayed. And if Chip Kelly was our coach back from 2010 and still our coach today, we probably would have won a national championship by now, with recruiting and the style and everything that was going on. But, that's why he wanted to go to the Niners and Eagles to try to see if he could win it at the highest stage. But again, sometimes, coaching young men and guys that make more money than you that have egos, it's completely different. And obviously it was a failure in the Eagles and the Niners, but he'll always be an Oregon legend. That's just the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, Chip Kelly would be my probably number one. Obviously if we could ever get, like an Urban Meyer or a Nick Saban type, but I mean, I don't really see that happening, but I would want someone like that. Going deep. Oh, why isn't that Mike Evans? Think alike, Matt. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? We think alike. But Chip is doing good things at UCLA, but of course, him coming back to Oregon would be awesome. I don't know his contract status and whatnot, but I think that would give Oregon like a swagger, and he's already familiar, with the school, and I think we would, welcome him with open arms. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be my number one choice is Chip Kelly, 100%. Jim Harbaugh would be cool too. I think Jim Harbaugh coming to Oregon would give us swagger. But obviously Michigan is kind of a bigger program than Oregon. I'm not sure if Ryan Day from Ohio State would be able to come to Oregon. I feel like if he came, it'd be the same thing as Dan Lanning. He would just fuck shit up. Like, I don't think that, I don't know. To me, Ryan Day's a little overrated. Like, I think he's a good coach because he's got Ohio State players, but I wouldn't want him for Oregon. Nick Saban, Chip Kelly, maybe an Urban Meyer type. Deflected backwards. Good defense by the Lions. Yeah, but check it out though, Matt. What if Nick Saban is like he ends up leaving Alabama? Like they can't win championships anymore there, and then all of a sudden they decide to go a different direction or whatever. He leaves. Hell, if you could get Nick Saban to come to Oregon, that would be huge. Like think about the recruits that we could get. We could actually get a bunch of 5-star blue chippers. We could turn shit. We could actually be known as a defensive team rather than an offensive team. And then I imagine the offense still stays good, but then the defense is on the same level. Then we're, one of the top teams in the country. That's my dream. I want to be able to be known as a top 5 defensive school or a top 10 defensive school and still have like the Bucky Irvings and the Bo Nixes and the Mariotas and the Herberts, and those kind of guys. But I want to be able to have like D linemen like Natas every year, Thibodeau's every year, Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckners. I want linebackers. I want corners. I want Patrick Chungs. I want Walter Thurman III. So I want a complete team, and I would rather have an elite defense than an elite offense. Because an elite defense, you're going to go further in college football. So Justin Wilcox, fuck no. Fuck no. He's got Oregon ties, right? But fuck no, not good enough. Not good enough. Yeah, but Saban ain't leaving, And then you look at like Georgia, Ohio State, and you're looking at all the other coaches that are out there. Texas with Sarkisian. I don't know, man. None of them really. I think Chip would be my number one and probably my number two and my number three, honestly. I think it would probably be Chip Kelly number one, and then I would probably say like Harbaugh over all the other guys. That would probably be my number two, just because of discipline, and we would be able to get some defensive players with Harbaugh. A guy, see, he likes Harbaugh too. We have great minds think alike. Raiders. Yeah, and imagine if Harbaugh can bring that discipline that he brought to the Niners, and bring it to the Raiders, then the Raiders could end up making the playoffs sooner than later, and he just get rid of all the dog shit pieces and really build it from the ground up. But you're going to need someone like that to do it. I agree. Top defenses right now. I mean, there's a few of them. I mean, like I said, there's a few defenses that are very very good. Right? Eagles are good. Niners are good. Buccaneers are pretty good. Um, Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. I mean, there's quite a few defenses. I mean, if we're going to be going down the line of all the great defenses, that are playing not only in fantasy but in real life. Buffalo, still is pretty good even though they lost. We have to kind of evaluate. I got them in fantasy, so I have Buffalo and I got Tampa. So they're two of the top, 8 defenses in the NFL. But I got to see after this week and next week because they got the Giants who are dog shit, right? And no Daniel Jones and a bunch of injuries. So I know we can get like 10 fantasy points there or more, maybe 20. And then we got the Patriots, and I know we can get fantasy points on them. But what happens when the Bills start playing better teams? Are they still going to be a pretty good defense, or are they going to be outside the top 10 or still in the top 10? And then you got teams sometimes like the Jets and a few others, that, like I said, there's probably about 10, 5 to 10, well, 5 elite defenses, and the other 5 are like good. So I would say there's probably about 10 defenses out of 32 that are like respectable, and then the other 22 are dog shit. Oh, almost picked Levante David in coverage. But you could argue, Toby, that you got a better defense than the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Dolphins. So you actually, as far as contenders, if you guys are the 4 best teams in the AFC, your defense is probably the best out of those AFC teams. You have balance like Tampa and the Lions. Those other teams are more popular than you, but you might be able to upset them this year or next year. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't believe it. There we go. First down, Lions. Move the chains. Josh Reynolds, very underrated. Yeah, like I said, it all starts with ownership. If you have a horrible owner, horrible GM, horrible coaches, horrible play callers, you can't expect any of the players to do anything. And I agree, A guy, you got to just blow that shit up. Honestly, if Davis sold the team to someone that actually knew what the fuck they were doing to get the proper coaches in there, the players could be like average, but with elite coaching, they would be above average and you could start building. That's really what it comes down to. You don't even need necessarily a Josh Jacobs or a Devontae Adams to suck all the payroll out. You could actually build it and get a good O-line and get lower name receivers, but end up getting more wins because you have more balance. Build it, around the O-line and the D-line so that way you can get more Max Crosby types and less of these cancer pieces or these draft picks that are terrible. Oh, incomplete. Some guys are better coordinators than coaches. A lot of guys, they want to be able to get an opportunity to be able to be a head coach from an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator. But the harsh reality is as intelligent as you are, play calling, offense or defense, only about 10% of the guys that go over from just being a coordinator pan out. Most of them can't do it because it's a leadership thing. It's one thing to call plays and you can just be that nerd, going through all the different, formations and shifts. But can you like relate to the players? Are you real? Do you have chemistry, with people? Oh, it's 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a Buccaneer sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Let's go. Yeah, they need to fire him no matter what, regardless if you guys ended up winning 10 games or no games. Like, he's just not a good coach. I mean, it's very clear. You can see it at a Raider fan, but everyone else can see it as well. I mean, just because you're like with your boy Belichick doesn't mean that you can do this. Like you couldn't do it when you were with Denver and Tebow. You can't do it now. And it doesn't help that both of those teams don't really have a lot of pieces in place. You have some. Josh Jacobs, I love. Devontae Adams, I love. My favorite, Max Crosby by a billion. You know what I mean? Then the whole Chandler Jones thing, all the draft picks, picking the wrong guys. One guy getting in a car accident and obviously, eliminating a life and a dog of that woman. It's like you're picking the wrong pieces. And like I said, you just don't have as many good players. And obviously, it all starts at the top. And then the ownership is terrible. Same thing with like the Cowboys. If you could just move on from Jerry Jones and the Davis family, imagine how much better the Cowboys and the Raiders could be. Because the Cowboys are kind of like the AFC version of the Raiders, and the Raiders are the NFC version or AFC version of the Cowboys. They kind of are like, one team gets more wins than the other, but every single year you get disappointed by the same shit that doesn't get changed. You just can't repeat the same habits and think things are going to get better, right? So, damn, Montgomery is diagnosed with a rib injury. Fuck my life. Fuck. And now with this injury to Montgomery, if he goes down, then the Lions might start going downwards in a downward spiral, with the wins and the losses, which could be good for teams like the Bucs and the Seahawks to kind of catch up. But I mean, hopefully that the rib injury is just minor and he'll be able to go because I'm going to be fucked in fantasy without him. Hopefully he'll end up being all right. Now, these injuries to these running backs is just ridiculous. Davis would be still paying Gruden. Yeah. Gruden would be a better coach than Josh McDaniels if he never would have fired him. But sometimes you don't realize the grass would be greener on the other side. You assume it would be greener, and then you find out that damn, that the grass is fucking it's non-existent. The grass is brown as shit. You know, like the grass has not been watered. With Josh McDaniels, that shit is terrible. You know, like, even if you know how to call plays, Josh McDaniels doesn't exude leadership qualities. When you look at him, he looks like a kid that's afraid that, like a kid in a candy store or someone that looks lost, like a Toys R Us. He doesn't look like he's focused or to be a head coach. He always looks worried, doesn't know what he's doing, flustered. I don't see any type of swagger or confidence. I don't think the players like him. Like I don't, if you're going to have all of these negative things, how do you expect shit to work? What, just because you're boys with Davis? And you're just going to keep your job because of that. That's when when ownership is just trying to make money from concessions and jersey sales and beer, and it's like you don't really care about winning. You just care about making money. And I feel that certain organizations are kind of like that, including the Mariners. It's like, oh, we're okay not buying any free agents, and we're just going to make money off all the fans because they're going to show up and pay money regardless if we're good or bad. And that's a terrible thing to do. So. The owners forced Davis to fire Gruden. Yeah. They tried to make an example out of him, with some of the language that he used, but to act like other coaches and other players aren't racist, to a certain degree is ridiculous. You can still have white, black, Asian, Mexican players or coaches, but you can't act like in people's free time when they're hanging out with each other that they don't say certain things about other races of other people or whatever, to act like everyone just gets along with everyone and everyone isn't a certain way sexist or racist. It's fucking ridiculous, you know. But again, someone had to make an example. And I don't think John Gruden is racist. Sometimes people get heated and they say fucked up things, or they write things in a fucking email, or they say things that maybe they shouldn't in the heat of the moment. Or sometimes bad experiences make you feel a certain way towards a type of person, man or woman, or a different race of a different person. Every person will have a bad experience. It's like, for example, it's like if you get in a fight and let's say I get jumped, by a certain type of people, let's say by some Latinos or some brothers. What am I going to do? I'm even like, oh, I hate this type of person for the rest of my life because I had one incident that happened to me. But that's what people do. You could have one incident happen to you in your life. You could get jumped or beat up, by a group of people that aren't the same race as you. And then you're just like, fuck them for the rest of my life. I mean, that's not a good way to be doing things, but that's how people's brains operate. They hold grudges and it's kind of immature, but that's what people do. And obviously in the NFL, they had to make an example out of him, which was kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. And I don't honestly think John Gruden is a full-blown racist type of person that they tried to portray him as. Because if you actually watched his career with the coaching, trees and all the development he had with Randall Cunningham with the Eagles early on, you would definitely have known if Gruden was racist 30 years ago, if he really was. So, it is what it is. Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah. As Pat McAfee would say, the rich whites, that own all the teams and whatnot, right? You know, they're gonna cater to making money. So, and there's gonna be politics involved, and there's gonna be money involved, right? More money, more politics. As long as people are making the money for the rich. Suzanne Summers passed. Was it? She had like breast cancer at one point. That's sad. Step by step, day by day. I used to watch that show all the time. Little Perfect Strangers, and then I watched what was it? I'm trying to think of the lineup that we had. So we had Step by Step, Family Matters, and then we also had Full House, and we had that little rotation there. Rest in peace, Suzanne. Three's Company, yes. Nice. So what's going on with Kyle Larson and the rest of NASCAR? I haven't been watching. You know what I mean? So I don't know really what's going on as far as like how many races are left and who are the last drivers that are available to be able to win the championship. You want to give me an update? Do you know, Sarah? Like how many races are left? Who actually is in the running to win the championship? I mean, I wouldn't mind doing like the last race possibly to see who wins the championship and whatnot. But we haven't heard from Mike in a long time. I hope he didn't pass away. And I haven't heard from Jameson in months. Hopefully he didn't pass away or something happened to him. But no Jameson, no Mike in a long, long time. Hopefully they're both okay. Those are two very instrumental pieces to the channel. Yeah, well, I just got lucky that he shit the bed with McPherson, New Orleans D, Jerry Judy. Devontae Adams doesn't have too much just yet, and he put Ferguson in for Waller. But he's got Josh Allen, and Josh Allen single-handedly could get like 40 points against the Giants. So that makes me fucking nervous too, especially if Montgomery is not coming back. Literally exactly what happened to Christian McCaffrey had to Montgomery. Christian McCaffrey at least got 14 before he got hurt. I only got 4. Both of my running backs are at fucking 4. So I need Rachaad White to get in the end zone, and I need Amon Ra and Mike Evans. Mike Evans has 0. Jesus Christ. I don't have Jameson's number. We only communicated really through here, and I think he had a Twitter, but he didn't really use it. So I mean, some people I have their phone numbers, and some people I have, just like I talk to them on Instagram or I talk to them on X or Twitter, and that's it. That's how we communicate or whatever. Did you ever start, Matt? Did you ever start a Twitter or X? Just sign up for it, dude. It's free. So that way we can talk Ducks and whatever, and then you can follow, some of the Duck players or whatever NFL outlet, Oregon Ducks football or whatever, and then we can end up talking about stuff. I think that you should do it, bro, if you haven't done it yet. Just like you can have a picture like you do in your profile, or you can have one, someone take a picture of you with the duck paint on, use that as your profile, and then we can communicate. Because there's always duck stuff that I'm finding that I could send it to, but I don't have anyone to send it to besides my friend Justin, who's a big duck fan like me. So if you're not really doing Instagram or Twitter or X, I think you should sign up for at least one or both. That way you can at least communicate with some of the goats in the room. Jimmy G hurt. Uh-oh. So William Byron, and then Truex, and then Hamlin and Larson, and that's it. Those four. Well, Byron was very, very good. Truex was going to retire, and then he didn't. And then Denny is getting up there in age as well. And then Larson had a bounce back. So, moral of the story for Chase Elliott fans, including myself, don't fucking snowboard or ski, during the season because it absolutely just wrecked your whole year. And I already knew he wasn't going to make the playoffs. So, all right, talk soon. What happened to second string quarterback, the rookie? What happened to that guy? A guy? He's behind. That guy got hurt also. So you're the third string. Hoyer second, and then the rookie is third. Why is Hoyer second string? Didn't the rookie look pretty good in preseason? He didn't look too bad. But I guess Hoyer is a vet. And he's more familiar with an NFL system. But we already know what Hoyer is. Aiden is third. Who would you rather have in the game, Hoyer or Aiden? Honestly, 10-3 Lions. It's like Seahawks talk is gonna, feed off that momentum of last week, beating Megan, poking money over Sarah. Shep had an amazing defense and kicker. He got 19 out of Tucker, 16 out of the Chiefs defense. When you get 35 points out of your kicker and your defense, you're going to win 100% of the time. Then reflect being gaudy, 133 over 67 over the chosen ones, even though he's projected for 133, but he's projected for 165. I guess that's what happens when you have Jalen Hurts, Brees Hall, you got Swift, Waddle, Kirk, Kelsey, Mostert. So he's doing the thing that I do normally. He's going running back heavy. And then he's got like about 10 running backs on the bench. Barkley, Pierce, Connor, Ford. He scooped up all the running backs. It wouldn't surprise me if Reflect ends up making the playoffs. He could win the championship. Could be Chief will Chief, could be me, could be Reflect. I think I would. I agree. I think I would rather have Aiden O'Connell. I would have started him, over the other two. I would have just ran with him. If you're going to already be bad, might as well have growing pains. And I think, if the offensive line doesn't block, you're going to get sacked no matter who it is. But who gives you a better chance to win? Jimmy is turnover prone. Hoyer is just a game manager. What is O'Connell? We don't know. You know what I mean? But I think that he gives them a spark, and I would just go with that guy. That's who I would go with. Hell, I would have started him at the beginning of the year, but obviously it's politics and you can't do that. But if you actually can select someone, that's where I would go. I would have started him from the very beginning of the year. I already know what Jimmy G is. He's a fraud. I already know what Hoyer is. He's just a game manager, a good backup, just in case someone gets hurt. Emergency guy. But when you have a rook that actually has been making some throws and showing some life, I think that if it was me, I would have thrown him in there. Exactly. If Jimmy's going to throw for one or two, or if Hoyer doesn't, but he can't win you a game, give the guy a chance. Maybe Aiden will throw a pick or two also, but maybe he'll throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns, and Jimmy won't do that. So, or maybe he'll go in there and throw for 3 touchdowns and no picks. and win you a game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think that he's the best quarterback on the roster. The other guys are more experienced, but what is experience going to get you if you know what you're getting? You know, a turnover machine in Jimmy G that's going to get hurt, in a matter of time, and then Hoyer, who's old as shit, that is just going to be able to hang on to dear life, hand the football off, and just make remedial intermediate throws. He ain't going to win the game for you, So you might as well go for a guy that's got a fresh arm and a kind of a life to be able to show what I can do. That's what I would do. 0 for 12. Wow, yeah, he's terrible. Well, get rid of his ass too. 2nd down and 10. (10-3) Lions. I need a Mike Evans touchdown, a Rachaad White touchdown, and a Amon-Ra touchdown. Baby, let's go. What a defensive battle. And this is arguably the 3rd and 4th best team in the NFC here, with the Lions being 3rd and Tampa being 4th. Not as good as the Eagles or Niners, but if the Eagles and Niners get injured, these two teams could upset those teams. Nice, Reynolds. Wow. 1st down, Lions. He's a man. Very underrated. Reynolds has been good all year. He's been good last year, too. Reynolds and Reynolds. Patriots 10, Raiders 13. Cardinals 9, Rams 6. Eagles 14, Jets 9. All the afternoon games are very low scoring. Goff in the Goffense. Brock Wright, the backup tight end. Damn, bro. I wish we could just go back in time for you so you could just rekindle the John Madden, Marcus Allen, Tim Brown, or even the goddamn Rich Gannon era with Jerry Rice and Tim Brown and, Jerry Porter and going back to that era. Romanowski. Golly, I mean, it's been like 20 years since you've been happy, and I want you to be happy again. I don't like seeing people fucking be miserable with a dog shit team that doesn't improve. But it starts with the ownership, as you know. Just like the Cowboys. Cowboys have had more success than you, but at the end of the day, they end up losing no matter what because they keep repeating same fucking mistakes over and over and over, and then they always have the fan base thinking that they're going to the Super Bowl and winning while they keep repeating the same mistakes. It's ridiculous. I want you to be happy, bro. Come on, Bucs. 1st down and 10. Play action fake. Go to Amon-Ra. And he throws it into the turf. Let me go get my drink here real quick. Good defense. Levante David, baby. He's the only one to wear these creamsicles in his rookie year in 2012, and he's always been one of my favorite players. I'm glad that he's there. I'm always going to be a linebacker guy. I'm always going to be a Derek Brooks guy, but I'm always going to be a Levante David and Devin White guy too. I told you. I mean, like I said, I'm a defensive, that's what I'm a fan of. And, Tampa has always been known for that. And it's always nice when you have, Brady and Godwin and Evans and all that, right? Gronk, it was so unexpected. AB, before the CTE really kicked in. Tipped. Oh, almost intercepted. But I mean, we've lost guys, in the last couple of years too, like Sean Murphy Bunting and a few others. It's like, imagine if we still had the same type of secondary and those pieces that we didn't lose. It could have been big. Like, I wish we still had Jordan Whitehead too. He still only has 3 interceptions, but that's tied for first place. Still, kick is up. No good. There we go. Reggie White, yeah. Well, like I said, I feel that this channel has more people that appreciate O line, D line, defense, special teams, coaching, play calling. And for me, it's always going to be defense, coaching, play calling. And like that's going to be really, really big. But I do appreciate O line a lot and special teams a lot. Like it's not like I hate quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight end, but I feel that every other channel and every other news outlet, they focus way too much on those star players, and they don't realize what it takes to win is O line and D line, defense, coaching, and play calling. That's more important than who the fuck your quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end is. If you have elite O line, elite D line, elite defense, elite coaching, and elite play calling, you can have average quarterback, average running backs, average wide receivers, average tight ends, or even below average, and still win 10 or 11 games. You've got to be. I mean, I would rather have that rather than have elite quarterback, elite running back, elite wide receivers, elite tight end, and then have dog shit O line, dog shit D line, dog shit defense, dog shit coach, dog shit owner, dog shit play calling. How many wins do you think you're going to get with that kind of team? Not very many. Maybe 4 to 7 games. So yeah, I love me some Reggie White. I don't know. And I think if you watch a game, from a defensive perspective or an O line perspective, it allows you to kind of understand the NFL differently. Most people, 99.999%, they just watch the center hike the ball, the quarterback decide to either hand it off, or go to the wide receiver, and you're focused on the center initially, and then the hike, and then the quarterback, running back, or wide receiver or tight end, and that's it. Most people don't look at the O line to see what they're doing. Unless you see someone blatantly holding, or seeing the D line and how they move and how they swim move and how they use their hands and their feet, or seeing linebackers, make different audibles and how they go sideline to sideline, or watching corners and safeties, how they move in zone and man. Like, you see football differently. And I feel if you watch football from a different perspective, you'll be much smarter about the game instead of just looking at it like everyone else, running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback. You don't really learn a whole lot watching the game that way. There we go. Go, Godwin. There we go. First down, Buccaneers. Time to tie the game with a Mike Evans touchdown, baby. Let's go. Arguably the best defensive player that's ever lived, or one of with Reggie White. Baker. Yeah, Mike Evans queued up. ESP. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Time for that tutty to Mike Evans one-on-one. They got no answers for him. I need some fantasy. I need some fantasy. Fantasy. Points, baby. Let's go. One of the best duos in the National Football League. Don't go to the sideline, Mike. Okay, good. I was going to say, God damn it. I need you, boy. Let's go, Mike. One-on-one, baby. Shotgun set. I'll take a Rachaad White touchdown too, though. It's nice that I have at least like one of my favorite teams in football because the Ducks don't have a defense. They never have, besides the early 2000s defense that we had, with Joey Harrington. We actually had a defense back then, but obviously the Buccaneers have always been known for defense, and we've gotten some offensive pieces, which is nice. But I would prefer if the Ducks were a defensive team rather than an offensive team, honestly. If that means sacrificing like Bucky Irving and Troy Franklin to get better defensive guys, so be it. Ooh, good tackle. Ooh, Captain Jack with that firm tackle. Is this game local for you, Sarah? You're watching it on local TV on Fox? Because I know here in Oregon they had the Eagles and the Jets, which is fucking stupid. I should show you this vintage fucking Tampa hat that I have from like 76, 77. It's crazy. But it's a little dirty though. Wasn't gonna wear it on the stream. Baker! Is that gonna be offensive pass interference or defense? It looked like Mike Evans pushed off. I'm not a biased person, but it also looks like he stopped. Like he was running at corner and then he just stopped, and then obviously Evans pushed him from behind. But we'll see what the call is. Offensive pass interference, good call. It was like a little combination of the corner stopping, but then Evans pushing him. So I think that's a good call. Come on, Evans, 2.8 fantasy points is not going to cut it, baby. Chiefs got Devontae Adams with a 1.8 though, so I need to limit as many points as possible. But this is definitely the shittiest week that Chief has had. But I told him as soon as Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, or Josh Allen gets hurt, me and Reflect and others we're gonna come for you, and we're coming, and we're gonna get closer. And I mean, I didn't really want it to happen so soon, but then now I got my guy hurt too. Baker, flag. Baker, throw better passes than my boy Evans. God damn it. Penalty on the Lions. And then I got to try to bust out some reaction videos since we're not going to do Sunday Night Football. Bills and Giants. The Bills are going to win by like 40. It's going to be like, it would just be like a mental health stream, but I need to get these reaction videos out to help us get some more subs. So I don't think anyone's really going to give a shit, Most people are just going to be kind of talking. It's not really going to be like calling the game because it's just going to be them putting up points every single second. So now I just got to look at the reaction videos on which ones that I would want to do. I'll do this game, and then Seahawks Bengals. I can do that. Dolphins Panthers. Niners Browns. I guess Saints Texans. Sometimes the matchups really aren't that good, but Devontae did. Damn it. Oh, look, Tampa going for a field goal. Dan Lanning, take notes. This is what we should have did. You take points when they're there. You don't take that shit for granted because you don't know when the next time you're going to have another field goal opportunity. But Dan Lanning's just a greedy fuck, and then we lost that game. Greedy fucks always lose. They lose in the games and they lose in life. Wow, kick is good, barely. Ten six. So if anyone is in the room, I'm not sure if you guys end up watching the reaction videos because the way it breaks down is there's some people that do the live streams and the reaction videos. Some people do only reaction videos, and some people only do live streams. But if there's any reaction videos that you guys would like me to try to pump out today, just comment below. Either if the game is still going on or if it's ended. I'm going to try to do, I don't know how many I'm going to do, somewhere between 5 and 7, depending on how tired I get. And then I'll try to do another 5, probably tomorrow before Monday Night Football. and then we'll see what's left over. But I wanted to try to do 16 every week. But sometimes the matchups are so shitty. By the time it gets to like Tuesday or Wednesday, it's not even worth it. You know what I mean? So it's like I'll try to pick and choose, like the best 10 games, of the week, and then those last 6 will either get done on Tuesday or Wednesday, or I'll just skip them and do college football instead. So like obviously I got to do an Oregon Washington one. That'll be something that I could actually do today. I could do an Oregon Washington one and whatnot, but and we got pretty good views, on the live stream. It was like over 1,600. Obviously, anytime that people can see someone that is a fan of a team lose, and they always want to come in there and talk shit or see if the person loses their shit, I know how people work, especially on YouTube. People are haters. So they love to be able to see people miserable because they're fucking miserable. So they love to see people that like have passion for a team and then they lose. But the problem is like, I'm not going to go crazy. Obviously I'll, complain about Dan Lanning, but it's not like I'm going to be like, fuck the Huskies and fuck Michael Penix Jr. That's what they want me to say, but I appreciate greatness for what it is. So Saints and Texans, Bengals and Hawks. Those were the ones that I thought I was going to start with for sure. Yeah. So I was thinking maybe doing Oregon, Washington. At some point I could do that later, but I could always start off with that. I could do that and then, just get that out of the way and then do the rest of the college ones maybe on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and then do those 2 games, do this game, and then, try to do maybe 4 or 5. That way I can at least, spend time with Paisley. I don't want to just like, ignore Paisley for like 8 hours straight. So she's very good for my life. I don't know what I would do without her. It's like having that constant positivity and being able to go on adventures with her every day and spend pretty much all my time with her when I'm not hanging out with you guys. It's very, very good for my mental health. Yeah, and I don't have any kids of my own, but I definitely understand what it's like to be a parent now. Even if it is for like a dog or a pup, like I said, the bond that we have is unbreakable. It's crazy, and she understands a lot too. She's very intelligent for a dog. I'll look at her and I'll tell her I got to stream for a couple hours, go take a nap, and we'll walk and we'll go take care of stuff later. And she'll look at me and then she'll go to the couch in the other room in the living room. She's very bright. 10-6 Lions. Cooper Kupp. There we go, Maher. Give me some more fantasy points, bud. Give me to 10. Mike Evans, you're only at 2. Amon-Ra's at 20. Montgomery's hurt. I'm screwed there. And I need White to get over 10. Let's go. We got a whole quarter and a half for fantasy for your boy. Shotgun set. Goff. Laporta on my bench. Well, it looks like, I don't know if Laporta is going to end up scoring in this game, but it looks like it was a good decision to go with Mark Andrews because I just didn't know if Laporta was going to play. I hate injuries. Amon-Ra, baby. Yeah, Renfro is on kind of a downward spiral. He needs to go somewhere else. They're not utilizing him. Yeah, I agree. Hasn't had a good season in a minute. Like him and Carr had a good connection, but obviously now with Jimmy, it's not the same. Amon-Ra, I need you to go off to make up for all my other guys doing shitty. Reynolds with the short gain. You're not going to go too far with big boys like Vita Vea. He's going to fucking bear hug your ass and knock you down. Renfro is open every game. He never throws him the ball. He always looks to Devontae first and then Jacoby Myers. That's where the eyes go. And then every once in a while, they decide to get Josh Jacobs the ball when it's too late. when the game is already over. But the whole offense and the vibe is fucked compared to when Carr was there. So for all the people that complain that Carr was dog shit, he's a hell of a lot better than Jimmy G. And sometimes you don't realize that what you have is actually pretty good. It's not great, but Carr was still like Cousins. Before this year, where they were still like top 12, top 13 quarterbacks. They might have not been top 10, but maybe 11th, 12th, 13th. Sometimes they play good. Sometimes they play like dog shit. But most of the time they play above average. Not everyone can be a top 5 quarterback, 80 to go. 2 donos by Marcos. Nothing since. Maybe we'll get a goat to come through. Maybe we won't. First down, Lions. Move the chains. Is that a hold on the O-line? I don't think Renfro's the top 10 slot anymore. He was with Carr, but not anymore. There's other guys that are better than him now. I mean, it's one thing that he's not getting the ball, but when he does get the ball, I don't think he's top 10 anymore, bro. All the people that were like, Carr sucks, and then you bring in a guy that's like 10 times worse. It's like by name recognition, you think it would be similar, Jimmy G and Carr, but Jimmy G is like a top 20 quarterback, sometimes not even that. Carr was a top 12, sometimes playing like a top 10. First down, Lions, move the chains. All right, they just took an X-ray of Montgomery just now, and they are negative. Thank God. But he's not coming back today, so that's good. At least he didn't break a rib. Otherwise, I would have been fucked. So he'll probably be out for 2 to 3 weeks, or he can maybe come back, in a week or two, and then they can wrap him up, and then they can put him on with one of the rib protectors. But that's good that the rib is negative. So I might miss him for a week or two, but he'll maybe be back. He should have caught that. What happened to my hands? Help your boy Goff out. That is very unlike the Goff and the Goffense there. But it came out of his hand all fucked up too. That looked like a Patrick Mahomes ball right there. Except if Patrick Mahomes was throwing it, he'd throw it into triple coverage and just lofting it up there. Second down and 10. Goff. Laporta with a drop. Wow. What happened to my hands? Again. Come on, Sam. You can't be doing that. I mean, I got you on my bench, but I don't want you dropping. Laporta with 5. Hollywood Brown with 2. Good thing I didn't start those 2 guys. CJ with 14. Demercado has 0.5. Thank God I might have to drop him. KJ Osborne filling in for Jay Jetta, only 8.8. I'm going to have to make some more moves. I'm going to have some guys I'm dropping after this week, at least 3. Goff going deep. Touchdown, Jameson Williams. Wow. I wish that was Amon-Ra St. Brown. They decided to go for that deep route, and you got burnt, Tampa. Wow. And my prediction of the Lions and the Huskies winning, it looks like is going to come true. Wow. Nice job, Jameson. That's exactly why they brought him in to stretch the field. And you were just wondering when that was going to happen. Turn around. Jesus Christ. If you just turn around, you could have actually batted that away. Nice job, Jameson. Extra point is up, and it's good. And that might have been the nail in the coffin right there. And that shows you if you don't have good pieces in the secondary, that's exactly how you get exposed. You play good, you play good, you play good, you play good. Then they choose to go deep on you with Amon Ra or Jameson Williams, and then that happens, and now the game is over. You know, but at least this one won't hurt me as much. Now I just got to make sure I win in fantasy. I got to make sure I don't go 0 for 3. Ducks lost, Bucs lost. I can't lose in fantasy. I can't go 0 for 3 in the weekend. But I honestly, like I was telling, Reflect and Megan, some of the other people, the Lions, I said, were the third best team in the NFC. I thought they were better than the Bucs, better than the Seahawks. And yes, I know the Seahawks ended up beating the Lions in Detroit in overtime, but that doesn't mean that they're a better team overall. But again, if you're a Seahawks fan, you're going to say Seahawks. For me, I'm not a Seahawks fan, but I can just call it how I see it. But again, some people are going to be very not necessarily biased, but they're going to have a lot of opinions based on their team, their players. But I don't do that. I just call it how I see it. I don't give a shit if it's my team or someone else's team. And then obviously now with the Seahawks loss to the Bengals, I assume that he won't think that the Seahawks are better than the Lions. But again, I'm not going to be right all the time. But I feel with the amount of film and the amount of tape that I watch and the amount of reading I do, I'm going to be more right than not. I'm going to end up getting my opinions usually on point. No one's going to be right 100%. But the writing was on the wall that the Lions were the third best team based off their chemistry and based off their balance on the offense. And who's got a better O-line and D-line? The Lions, the Bucs, or the Seahawks? It's very clear it's the Lions. And then I would say the Buccaneers O-line and D-line is even better than the Seahawks as well. So, yeah, but again, people are going to argue. People are going to have their opinions. That's fine, But I know that whatever I say, more than likely, I'm not going to be right all the time, but I know my ESP is going to come true. And if I was such a fucking idiot, I wouldn't be able to predict, plays every fucking game, as well as, get people to win money and get picks right, Like, hell, I could be a biased fan and say, oh, the Ducks and the Buccaneers are going to win. And then look, now both the teams are going to lose. So obviously you got to be able to look past your own team and your own players and realize when someone is probably better than you. And the Lions are clearly better than the Bucs. And clearly, and I'm at home, no excuses, creamsicles, everything to play for, vibing all week, wearing the gear, Lions are better, and hopefully Montgomery will get healthy, and the Huskies are better. I think a lot of people have a hard time just admitting that that their team is not the better team. That it's like, oh, this is my team, I'm biased. This is my team, my players, my team, my team, my team. But if you want to win money or just be not biased, sometimes you got to go against your own team and understand it's okay not to be the better team. It's all right. Not everyone is going to be a championship caliber team every year. Now, if this was the team where we went to the Natty or when we had Joey Harrington or my team with Tom Brady, you already know what it is. You already know that. I already knew that we were going to be one of the best teams in the NFL. But it's like you either know you're good or you know that you have weaknesses. It's okay to admit when your team isn't as good. Because eventually, if you keep going for your team, you'll get exposed. Oh, we're going to win. Oh, we're going to win. Oh, we're going to win. Oh, we're the best. We're the best. And then you get fucking smashed, or you go on the road and you lose to a team that you shouldn't lose to. Throws over 20-plus yards, first for Jared Goff. Leads the NFL with throws over 20-plus yards, 63%. But your boy's an idiot and doesn't know football. I'm a big believer in Goff. I'm a big believer in Amon Ra, Josh Reynolds, Laporta. Every piece that they have. Offensive line, Ragnow, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, it's about balance and talent. There we go, Mike. What's up, John? Sarah, we got to get you a dub. I don't want you. Are you going to go 0 for 10? We need to get you on the fucking board, But again, the roster, I don't know if you're going to be able to get a win. I mean, like I said, a lot of the other teams, I mean, if you play like Megan, she beat you, and her roster is going to be up and down as well. But, like I said, like I told y'all, you didn't do a lot of moves last year. You didn't have injuries, and you were able to be a top 4 team. And then you kind of had that same kind of mentality this year, and it came back to bite you big time. Because, again, if you're not active in the first 3 weeks heavy, and then you have injuries or the players play like shit, you can't make up a team at that point. It's too late, because every other player, including myself, scooped up all the other pieces that you could have used. It's just crazy, to even think that you're 0 and 5, you know what I mean? But just like looking at the schedule, it's like, well, I don't know. I hope we can get you a dub. Have you? I mean, what's the worst record you've ever had in fantasy? Have you ever? I mean, I imagine you've never gone going without a win in fantasy. But what's the worst you've ever done in fantasy? Like 4 or 5 wins, and like missing the playoffs, or have you done worse than that before? It shows you, like I said, I never am going to give you advice, that's not going to derail you. But like I said, if you don't constantly make moves and good, smart moves, and also not having as many like Colts, on your team. Like I know you like Michael Pittman and Colts defense, Colts kicker, too much Colts. Because if the Colts aren't winning, right, you're not going to win fucking fantasy games. You can't rely on just picking your pieces because it's your team, your kicker, your defense, your wide receiver. Yeah, especially if they're not winning games. Because if you have those pieces, that's going to equate to losses. You see what I'm saying? It's tough because we all want to be able to have a little bit of our own team. Hell, I got Bucs D, I got Rashad White, I got Mike Evans. I didn't necessarily plan on that, but my team has a winning record. If you got a lot of pieces on your team and your team's struggling, it's almost a disaster. It's like it's going to be very tough for you to climb out of the hole. And I wish there was more pieces on the wire for you to get, but there's not a whole lot out there. You got to wait. You got to wait for people to start like dropping pieces, and hopefully you can get lucky and picking up a few others. But almost blocked. 3 wins is the lowest. And I'm not saying you have to be crazy like me, where you're making like moves every single week, but again, first 3 weeks in fantasy are the most crucial 3 weeks in the entire year because there's going to be starters and people that should have been drafted in fantasy that are still sitting there. And if you can grab them, they may end up being bench pieces that turn into starters the rest of the year. And then if you don't do anything and you just wait and see, then you end up 0-5 and it doesn't even look like you're going to get a dub anytime soon. Like, I hope we can get you a dub at some point. Yeah. Well, Pittman has been solid, but like looking at your team, at your roster, I wouldn't roster probably 10 people on your team for my team. You know what I mean? Your team is your team, but like I said, I would have made major adjustments. Like I dropped Moody and I dropped Maher. That would have been kickers that you should have picked up. Drop the other guys that you had, Gay and Sanders, and got rid of them. You have to be able to keep looking better defenses, better kicker, more key pieces. Any piece that you can improve, and if you just keep the same kicker and defense and they keep giving you 3 points and 3 points, you're never going to win. You got to keep improving. So if you wanted to keep Michael Pittman Jr., fine. That one is fine to keep. But there's a lot of pieces there that you just kind of left. And, one loss turned into 2, turned into 3, turned into 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously there's nothing a lot that you could have done with Burrow. Kyron Williams, that's fine. Got to find someone better than McLaughlin. You got Diggs, you got Ridley, but Ridley underperformed. Hawkinson's good. Pittman is fine. But Indy D should not have them on the roster. Sanders kicker shouldn't have them on the roster. Pittsburgh D shouldn't be on the roster. Gay did all right, but I wouldn't have him on my roster. Granson wouldn't have him on my roster. Stafford wouldn't have him on my roster. Spears wouldn't have him in my roster. And then maybe Reynolds I would have on my roster. I mean, but at this point, there's not a whole lot for you to substitute with. But if this was early on within the first 3 weeks, I would have made a shitload of adjustments. Because if you have pieces on your bench that aren't doing shit, they're just collecting dust. You're never using them. Dalla in the building. What's good? Freak time. I might have to turn it on. Dude, what do you, Air Dalla, you seen the Wemby highlights? Dude, Wemby looks like, the hype for LeBron, and he lived up to the expectations above and beyond. Wemby is like LeBron. Wemby lives up to the expectations and exceeds them. I ended up watching that highlight package about that first game. He's doing shit that I've never seen a player of that size do. Threes, jumpers, alley-oops, rebound dunks, blocks, crossovers. I mean, the guy is a freak. I mean, I know you got Giannis and you got Dame time, freak time, but Wemby is the truth. That guy's memorabilia is going to be worth a shitload of money. Like his autograph stuff. I mean, that we're talking about the next superstar in Wembanyama. That guy is insane. The only thing that's going to slow him down is injuries. It's like every second highlight, I was like jumping out of my chair. I was like, oh my God. And I'm not even really a big NBA guy anymore. But I'm telling you, if you get a chance to watch some Spurs games, do it. Wemby is like the next thing, as far as hype that lived up to it, that actually is going to live up to the hype like a LeBron James. Wembanyama. I mean, unbelievable. Some of the stuff that he does with his arms and legs. and his athletic ability. I have never, ever seen someone that's 7'4", 7'5", 7'6", play like he's 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". It's unbelievable. Goff, get his ass. That's a holding on the Detroit line. Being with the Spurs, yeah. He's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I'm definitely going to be tuning into Spurs games, to be able to watch him. Yeah, but I'm just saying for Wemby, like fuck the guards, fuck the forwards, fuck everything else. I'm just saying him, that initial highlight package of that game. If you ended up watching it and watch that like 3-minute highlight reel, I mean, there is a lot of like eyebrow like raising, like oh my god, like And I never say that unless I feel the guy is like the truth, and that was very impressive. Is he in with the penalty? 17-6 Lions. Looks like my predictions are going to come true with the Ducks losing and the Bucs losing. This one isn't going to hurt me as bad, though, as much as that Duck game did. End of the third quarter, 17-6 Lions. But now, I mean, like I said, even at the beginning of the year, saying that I thought the Lions were the third best team in the NFC. Now, with them beating the Bucs, the Seahawks losing to the fucking Bengals, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. It's for someone that covers the NFL as much as me too. I'm not going to be right all the time, but sometimes the writing is on the wall. Who else is playing tonight? I actually got to take a look at the schedule. Let me take a quick peek. Maybe I'll turn it on as well. All right, we got the Lightning and the Ottawa Senators. We got the Milwaukee Bucks and the Lakers. We got Grizzlies, Heat. Raptors playing a foreign team. Thunder and the Hornets. And then obviously the football games. Is Dame and Giannis both playing? I'll turn it on. It's not on yet, though, is it? All right, they got like a pre-show NBA countdown. Oh, it starts in a half hour. Dame and Giannis, I'll be watching. Yeah, you've already transitioned. You're like, fuck this team. You're like, I'm just gonna be Milwaukee Bucks. No Brewers. All right, done. Pack is done. Just Milwaukee. Giannis, Dame Giannis, championship. A real team. I'll watch. I'll be watching a lot of games. I'll cover a few games too. I'll do Blazers. I'll definitely do some Wemby, and I'll do good matchups on top of that too. Celtics, Heat, Lakers, Warriors. Middleton's playing too. Nice. Nashville Predators. Milwaukee Admirals. Wisconsin Badgers. Yeah. And obviously getting better defense and kickers too. Like, sometimes you got to be able to maneuver. And a lot of times, I'll be dropping really, really good pieces just to see if you guys are paying attention if I have someone else. And then sometimes I'll scoop them back up because nobody's paying attention. Like I'll get a good player, use him for a week, drop someone that I never would drop, and then to see if you guys are paying attention. If not, then I scoop them back up. and then I'll have them on the roster. I like to move around my pieces. I never like to keep the pieces the same. You got to be able to make changes every week. There we go, Goff. First down, Amon Ross St. Brown. Move the chains, baby. Hopefully Amon Ross can get another tutty for me. Amon Ross at 24, but Evans is only at 5. White is at 5. Montgomery is at 4. That's just dog shit. Laporte is at 5 on my bench. Hollywood Brown at 5. DeMarcardo at a 1. He's getting dropped. Shotgun set. Goff. Josh Reynolds. Josh, in your lineup, like even like having a Josh Reynolds, I would have played him. Like I said, I had him at one point or always try to get him. And even though he's not a big name, he always puts up stats. Sometimes you got to get past the famous player and name recognition, and you just have to look at who's getting fucking targets and who's getting fucking points. And if you can get past the name recognition and like compared to like a Pittman, compared to a Josh Reynolds, even though Pittman's been playing good for you, sometimes you got to make a tough choice. But if you end up putting in a Josh Reynolds over a guy like a Pittman that you normally would start every week, sometimes it'll end up playing into your favor. But it's hard because sometimes you have a guy that's a bigger name and you want to go for the name recognition. It's like I got Mike Evans, I got Amon Ron, I got Keenan Allen, but I also have Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown has gotten 10 targets in 3 out of the last 4 games. But if I didn't have those other guys, then I would be putting him in. You got to be able to look at targets and opportunities too. And Hollywood Brown actually is pretty good this season. He's a top 12 receiver. So if I have an injury with another receiver, with Evans and Amon-Ra and Keenan Allen, I feel good because I got Hollywood Brown early enough in the season where I can use him as a substitute. Or I can put him in my lineup from time to time. Come on, Goff. Amon-Ra, baby. Amon-Ra. Incomplete. Amon-Ra, baby. I need at least one guy to go off to make up for all my other guys being bullshit. I need Bills D to get me 20 tonight. And I need Keenan Allen to go for like 30 to 40. Let's go. Well, I didn't make any mistakes on my bench, so I didn't leave anything there. 17-6 Lions. Come on, Bucs. Craig Reynolds. Same kind of performance against the Eagles. Like we hang tough, against like some of these upper echelon teams, but we're just not on the same level as the Lions. We're not on the same level as the Niners or the Eagles. We're just not. We could be the 4th best team in the NFC, but still, that's still a big gap between the top 3. And Jared Goff is a good quarterback. I don't give a fuck what people say. He's better than Carr. He's better than Kirk Cousins. Goff is legit. And you guys will see, in the years moving forward, this will be year 1 of about a 5-year run for the Lions. And at one point, they will make an NFC championship game within the next 5 years. It could be this year or next year. They got good pieces all the way around. I mean, you're still going to have Tampa Bay, Seattle, the Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, Dallas Cowboys. You're still going to have teams like that floating, and being like a 10-win, hovering 10-win team, but they're never going to be championship caliber like I feel like these other 3 teams are. So, top 32 team? No, they're not. Kick us up? Top 33. (20-6) Lions. Hey, but hey, even though the Packers suck, you at least got your Milwaukee Bucks, man. And how good is Wisconsin doing this year for your Badgers? What's their record? What place are they going to finish in the Big Ten? Are they going to be kind of near Iowa, or where are you looking at with Wisconsin? How they looking? You got any NFL players on Wisconsin? You got anyone for me to be keeping an eye on the O line or the D line or any position? Chili's, 3 for me. Goddamn, they don't even have Chili's in Oregon anymore, I don't think. I didn't mind Chili's. You guys ever go to Chili's? You guys ever go there? You guys think the food is good? I didn't mind it. I thought they had a couple items that were all right. I wouldn't go there like all the time, but not good. Badgers record is 4-2. Well, if you're not good, you'd be 2-4. So I guess 4-2 is not terrible. I mean, you ain't winning the fucking Big Ten or nothing, but 4-2 is okay. Obviously you're not winning the Big Ten, but bad is like 0-6 or 2-4 or 1-5. I guess it just depends on what your standards are. Penn State, Ohio State next weekend in the morning. Ooh, baby. We got some baseball playoffs tonight. Rangers and Astros. Fuck both of them. And then I guess we got Phillies and Diamondbacks. I like both of those teams. So, if the Phillies are the better team, fucking go all the way. Go all the way. And if somehow, some way the Diamondbacks win against the Phillies by a fucking miracle, go all the way. Which would probably be the most unlikely thing to happen. As far as like pecking order, I would probably be like Phillies 1, Astros 2, Rangers 3, Diamondbacks 4, as far as like pecking order, most likely. But one weird stat that I did read is that every team that has beaten the Brewers has made the World Series. And this year it was who? The Diamondbacks. But I just don't know if they have enough to match up. I mean, Corbin Carroll would have to play like a fucking god, as well as Ketel Marte and their pitching staff with Seawald closing. Like, they would have to play like literally the best baseball that they've ever played in their fucking team's history to get past Philadelphia. They would have to get up to like a 2-0 lead on Philly to win that series, and I don't know if that's possible. Same thing with the Rangers. They would have to go up 2-0 on Houston. If not, you're not winning that series either. Shitty throw by Baker. What was that? Predators, yeah. The Kraken are garbage, bro. 0-3? Golly, I even did the first Kraken game, but I already knew what was going to happen there. Going against Vegas, I was like, oh, shit, we're going to get fucking rocked. And especially if Grew can only hang on for so long. We don't have enough goal scoring. Like you look at Vegas, they got 8 guys that can score, and all their defensemen are like 6'5" and fucking buff. And then you look at the Kraken, they got like 1 or 2 guys that can score, and if they don't, then they're fucked. And Grew can only hang on for so long. It's like, he can't hold on to just one, giving up 1 goal and thinking that's enough. Sometimes he'll give up 3 or 4, and then we need to score 3 or 4 or 5 to counteract. But, third down and 2. Come on, Baker. Baker going deep. Fuck. Why do we keep going to Trey Palmer? That's not Jamison Williams. Go to fucking Mike Evans. I know. Well, I didn't want to bring that up to make it embarrassing or depressing for you, but I read a lot. So, and you actually go back every year that the Brewers lose, that team goes to the World Series, which is kind of weird. But history tends to repeat itself. And you're a smart guy too, so I know you read a lot too. I didn't do that as a jab or anything like that. It's just I thought that was an interesting factoid. I'm not a heartless person. Wow, Camarda, big punt down to the 1. He's one of the best punters in the NFL. Yeah, I like you. So, there's some Packer fans that I really don't give a shit about or care for. But for you and Caitlin, I don't mind you two. Some Packer fans are great. Some, a little suspect. But you could say that for any franchise or any fan base. Some Saints fans are good. Some are fucking toxic. Some Eagle fans are good. Some are toxic. Some Niner fans are good. Some are toxic. Some Cowboy fans are good, like Allen, but some are toxic, you know? When I first read that stat, though, Dala, I was like, "This is fake." I was like, "There's no way." And then I had to recheck like every year, look at the graphic, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like that is like the weirdest coincidence. Like, how is that possible? But that's what sports for you, right? This is so sad. I might end up beating Chief, who's 5-0, right? And I have 6 points with Evans, 4 with Montgomery, 5 with Rashad White, and 17 with Mahomes, and I might actually win. I just gotta hope Josh Allen doesn't throw up like a fucking 40. I gotta hope that he doesn't, go crazy, crazy. Like if he gets 20, 25, fine, but I can't have him throwing up a 40 or a 50. Because if Josh Allen does that to the Giants, I might lose. But at least I got Buffalo D and Keenan Allen. Maher got me 11. I didn't leave any points on the bench. I did everything in my power. And I'm the only one that doesn't have their first round pick in the league. I'm the only one that doesn't have the first round pick out for the year, and Justin Jefferson, or out on IR. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek, Jamar Chase, Kelsey, McCaffrey, Diggs, Henry, Wilson, Walker, and Eckler. That was the first round. So I don't know. Some people show up, some people, disappear. That's kind of what happens on this channel. People that are loyal to the soil show up all the time, like you, Matt, or Finley, or Sarah. You know, Dala, Elliot, Cyber, Shep, Chief or Chief. And then we get others that, that decide that, either they got better shit to do. It's like, fuck, even if you don't donate, come through and hang out. Say hi. It takes fucking 5 seconds to hop in a room and say what's up and then leave, you know. But I guess that's too much for some people that they can't even do that, you know. Loyalty is everything. Honesty, loyalty, and respect. Play action fake, screen pass. Amon-Ra St. Brown, keep it moving, Amon-Ra. It'd be lovely to get another touchdown with Amon-Ra. I mean, I don't like losing games, but I mean, if we're already going to be losing, 350 plus yards in each of the first 5 games, first time since 1954. But ODog doesn't know anything about the Lions or the NFL. 19 touchdowns scored, most since 1970. Told you the Lions were the top 3 team in the NFC. People wanted to argue. 20-6 Lions. I mean, hell, I was even able to, predict that fucking interception for the Ducks 5 seconds before it happened. That was the only turnover all day. At least that big one. Stop playing with your boy. Your boy's got the ESP. Yeah, but even if you're working, right? Even if you're working or whatever, like you can make an effort to go to YouTube. When I'm online, boom, hit a comment. What's up? I can't stay long. Hope everyone's doing good. Peace out. I'll try to come back some other time. It's just like if someone doing a text message or you checking up on a friend. If you can't do it, it's excuses. Everyone's got goddamn time to fucking hit someone with a phone call, a text message, or to show up in a chat. It's a matter of if you do it or you don't fucking do it. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everyone has a choice on what they do. There's 24 hours in a fucking day. There's plenty of time to be able to, either make an effort or not make an effort. It's all personal choice. Third down and 3. Well, Jets defense is good. They have good, the offense stinks, but just because we think of the Jets of being a bad team doesn't mean their defense is bad. No, they're a top 10 fantasy defense. Sauce, Quentin Williams. They got some bosses over there. I'm on Raw, baby. Move the chains. Amon Ra might be my saving grace this week for being the number 1 team in fantasy. Let's go. Give me a tutty. I'm on Raw. That's my boy. That was my second pick. I can't believe Jay Jetta got hurt. First time in 40 years gets hurt, and of course it's the year that I have him. But I've had him the last couple of years on my fantasy team, so hopefully he comes back. Handoff. Nice cutback. Good game there. $156 yards for Kyron Williams. There you go, Sarah. Yeah. Fantasy points with Maher, baby. I'm on Raw with 30, my saving grace. Let's go. What happened to Mike Evans? And I need Keenan Allen to make up for Mike Evans, God damn it. And even if I would have put in Hollywood Brown, he didn't do shit either. At least I don't think he did so far that last time I looked. Second down and 2. Shotgun set for Goff. I'm on Raw. I'm on Raw. I'm on Raw. I'm on Raw. That's what I'm talking about. I can't go 0 for 3. I already predicted the Ducks were going to lose. They did. I predicted the Tampa Bay Bucs were going to lose. They are. And then I can't lose in fantasy. I can't go 0 for 3. You know, depression and anxiety have gotten the best of me. I have Paisley, so my life is good. You know, I don't need a girlfriend. You know, a girlfriend's going to give up on you if you have a dog and you have a dream and a career on YouTube, then obviously that's not the right person for me. First down and 10. Goff, I'm on Raw. It was Zigbo with a catch. See what I got here. Laporta with 5 on the bench. Hollywood Brown with 5. Hollywood Brown has gotten 17 points like pretty much 4 weeks in a row. 10 targets in the last 3 out of 4 games, and he shit the bed today. DeMarcardo shit the bed with a 1. He's getting dropped. Good thing I didn't start him. I almost started him too. Almost started him. And I was able to get Jalen Warren back, which is a good piece for me because he might not be able to get more than 10 points with PPR, but that's good enough for me, you know, because obviously Najee Harris is dog shit. But if I can at least get one guy in my RB2 to get me 10, you know, sometimes that's all you need. You know, someone that can just get 10 points or more. 10 points at tight end, 10 points at RB2. Of course, you want more, you know, but if your stars are on the wide receiver side in your weak positions, you just want 10 or more. Then you feel good. If you get under 10, you feel like shit. You know, if you get 9, you're like, okay, that's all right. But then anything below that, you're like, God damn it. God damn it. Let's go. I'm on Raw. I'm on Raw. I'm on Raw. I'm on Raw. Drop to I'm on Raw. No answer for that. Trips right. They got him on Raw. See if the Bucs bring the blitz. 20-6. Lions. I'm on Raw. Sam Laporta. First down, Lions. Who's the chains? Now Laporta's at 7.6. And I did Andrews. But Lamar doesn't get fucking Mark Andrews the ball enough. I watched that game this morning. I woke up at like 6 a.m. because Paisley woke up and I woke up. Dude, Lamar does not target Mark Andrews like he used to. It's pathetic. Like if he didn't end up getting a big 30-yard catch, you know, towards the end of the game, I would have been fucked. 20-6 Lions. Keep it going now. I'm on Raw, baby. Well, you're biased, right? But in a good way because those guys are actually good. I mean, the only shitty tight end that's come out in the last like 15 years is fucking Noah Fant. Everyone else is awesome, right? Dallas Clark, awesome. George Kittle, awesome. Laporta, awesome, right? TJ Hawkinson, awesome. You have one guy that didn't pan out, you know, but you had Hawkinson and Fant at the same time. So you knew one was going to be like, you know, baby brother, like little brother. One was big brother. So you had one shitty tight end. All the rest were good. And the shitty one still made the NFL. You know, so it's like he's like not incredibly shitty, but he ain't good. You know, he's just average. The average tight end or below average. I tried to get Reflect, but Reflect scooped up all those running backs. So it's only fitting that I ended up getting him. And, I took your word for it. I watched the film. I know he had good yak yards. All I need to do to evaluate sometimes is just see like 1 week, and then I can kind of gauge if I think that this is going to, good trajectory. Could Sam Laporta be a top 5 tight end this year? I thought he could, and then I took a chance and it worked out. So, and there'll be times where I play both tight ends, Andrews and Laporta, or I even play Laporta over Mark Andrews. Crosby sack for a safety. Nice. I love Max Crosby. Super underrated. One of the most underrated, NFL players, not just on defense, but overall. Love him. Best player that you've had on your organization in a long fucking time. I like Crosby over Josh Jacobs and even Devontae Adams. That's saying something. Like, to me, Max Crosby is the best player on your team, and he has been. And that's high praise to say over Jacobs and over Devontae, but it's true. Goff. It's cold noon. You know what time it is? Time for a buck sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Fancy, baby. It's disgusting. I'm looking at 5 points out of Rashad White, 4 out of Montgomery, and I might win. I might somehow. But I need Keenan Allen and Bills D to give me these big numbers. Maher with 15, Andrews with 11, Amon-Ra with 31, Mahomes with 17. So I had 3 guys shit the bed, but they still got 4 to 7 points. So I guess that's all right. But I don't like when I see my fantasy lineup with guys shitting the bed. I don't like seeing 7 points or under with anything I have. Wow. Nice punt down to the 2. Congratulations, man. Well, golly. I mean, if you can't beat the Patriots, then it really is over. I mean, Patriots are one of the worst teams in the NFL. And obviously some people would say, oh, the Raiders are too, but you got enough talent to beat that team. That team is, trying to get Drake May. They're just tank. Everyone join the army. Tank. They're looking at. They already know Mac Jones is garbage. Now maybe I can get a Mike Evans cheap, dog shit, just throw it up there and get like a 50-yard gain, or maybe I can get a cheap touchdown here at the end. A cheap Mike Evans touchdown would really be good, or even a Rashad White touchdown or big player, or a combination of both of these guys. If I could get a little bit out of White, get a little bit more out of him, and a little bit out of Evans. One big catch out of Evans and a little bit out of Rashad White, things would be Gucci for me. There's Rashad White. Good timing, Jason hopping in. Yeah, Patriots. Yeah, we suck. Hey, but if you get Drake May, then it would be a rebirth for you guys. But you still need a lot of pieces. I do like Matthew Judon. He's one of the best players on the team, even though he's out. I love Christian Gonzalez. He'll be really good for you guys. Go Ducks. You just need more and more pieces. Should have re-signed Jacoby Myers, but you decided to do Juju. Mistake. And hopefully, you should be playing Zappy over Mac Jones, but you're tanking. You're tanking without saying you're tanking, so you're going to play Mac Jones the rest of the year, lose a bunch of games, and then hopefully you'll get Drake May, and there'll be a little bit of a turnaround for you. Yeah, well, you don't have Tom Brady, you don't have Gronk, and it's different when you don't have 2 of the best players that ever lived. Baker! Tried to go to Evans. At least they know the game plan here. Come on, Mike. Don't give up. My fantasy needs you. I mean, 140 or 50-yard catch could be really big for me. Mike had a little bit of a hammy, issue and whatnot, so that's why I was a little concerned with Laporta, Hollywood Brown, and Evans, and Amon-Ra. I'm like, golly, somebody's got to be fucking healthy for me. I already got Jay Jetta on fucking IR. Oh, big hit. Look at that pop. Look at this. Kaka! That was the best hit of the game. Godwin hung on, though. What a hit. Mike Evans and Rashad White both have, Evans just got another 8.9. Okay, good. Well, Evans is one catch away from me at least getting the 10 to make me feel better. White's at 6.8. So I don't really need a whole lot on this drive. Just a couple garbage plays to get me 10 and 10, and then I'll be a happy man. Is that asking too much? I already lost by 14. But just get me keep the chains moving and let me get a couple garbage points out of Rashad White and garbage out of Mike Evans. Give me some garbage. Give me some Oscar the Grouch. 3rd down and 3. Shotgun set. Golly. 4th down. Well, you haven't been able to go to Mike Evans, but obviously going to Godwin, that's been the guy that's reliable. So that's where I would go on this play, even though I need fantasy points out of Evans. Evans or Godwin, but I would go Godwin. Oh, guess who? Guess who got the ball? Oh, O-Dog should be the offensive coordinator, Chris Godwin. 1st down, Buccaneers, and that's when you know your team. You go with the guy that has had the hot hand. You don't go to the guy that you're forcing the ball to in Mike Evans. You go to the guy that's actually been able to catch a goddamn ball. There we go. Fuck, I should be the OC. Good job, Baker. All right, I need Keenan Allen to get me 20 to 40. I need Bills D to get me 10 to 25. And then we'll be in business. Demicardo with 1. Jesus Christ. What a scrub. Damn, Reflect is about to score. Jalen, Brees Hall, Swift, Waddle, Kirk, Kelsey, Mostert, Detroit D. Bench is a little thin, but his team is nice. I say his team, my team, and Chief will Chief. I'm about to get 1st place. Let's go. I am a little shocked that we haven't got a touchdown. I figured we would get at least one. That's what I was thinking. I thought 13 to 20 points is what I was thinking. Yeah. Well, because your offense is more explosive than theirs, even though Miles Sanders can't do shit and he's injured. Chuba Hubbard, even though he's not great, like at times he can at least hit the hole. Miles Sanders just has injury after injury after injury. The offensive line is not good, but also you got guys like Adam Thielen, and he's doing more than any receiver is doing on the Patriots. So when you got guys like Sanders, even though he's not doing good, but he did okay for a game or two before he got hurt, Chuba, right? And then you end up having Adam Thielen in there. So you actually have Shark and Thielen. You have better weapons. And even though that, the team is bad, the team is better than New England. It's like even though the record might be bad, but they have more pieces, that are, more weapons that can be used. So that is crazy though. Yeah, they paid Juju the same amount of money. That was the dumbest shit ever. I already knew because I had Jacoby Myers in fantasy almost every year, and I look at stats, not name recognition, and I was like, golly, this guy's putting up 10 to 18 every fucking game. I was like, I'm gonna grab him, and I did for a few years. So that's a big reason why the Raiders are staying in games is because of him. Of course, it wasn't Mike Evans. Trey Palmer, 1st down, Buccaneers. Maybe I can get a cheap touchdown here. Can I get a cheap garbage fantasy points, please? God damn it. Every time they go to Evans, there's always some kind of issue. Quarterback gets blasted, the throw is overthrown, underthrown. Come on, Baker. Don't you know I need fantasy points, motherfucker? And as great as Baker has done with this team on third down, he still is Baker Mayfield. He's limited, you know. But it's better than Kyle Trask, I'll tell you that. And that's why the Lions are the third best team in the NFC. And hopefully people will start agreeing with me now and not arguing. Chris Godwin, move the chains. And I already knew they were the third best team after week one. I was like, I could already tell. I was like, O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling. It was very clear. Fucking A. Pass incomplete in the end zone. That's not Mike Evans. That's not Rashad White. Garbage time, garbage time, garbage time. Mike Evans, 8.9. Rashad White, 6.8. Is it really too much to ask for each guy to get a catch? One catch for each guy? I mean, you don't go to Mike Evans every fucking game and then all of a sudden that you just don't go to him. Obviously, the flow of the game, if you want to make sure you get an automatic catch, you go to Chris Godwin. But why are you going to these other receivers? Why? What's the point? Second down and 10. Baker. Trey Palmer, Trey Palmer, Trey Palmer. About to go get myself a fucking Arnold Palmer after this, motherfucker. Why are you going to Trey Palmer? Go to fucking Mike Evans. Oh, right. Sanders is not good enough. And also, Sanders was averaging about 5 yards a carry. Now it's only 3. And that's not just him. It's the O-line stinks. You know that. The O-line is one of the weakest things about that team. You do have weapons still, you know, quarterback, you know, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Some of them can be improved. But the thing that needs to be improved the most is that O-line. And obviously the defense, but specifically the O-line. Reflect in the building. I see what you're doing in fantasy. Looks like my predictions are coming true. Ducks lose. Michael Penix Jr., and whether he wins the Heisman or not, go out and represent the Pac-12 and do your thing, right? So I said Ducks are going to lose 37-34. They lost 36-33, but it wasn't due to Bo Nix. It was due to Dan Lanning being an idiot. And then this game, I predicted the Lions to win, and they did. So I feel, as long as I win in fantasy, I'll be good. I got to be first place. So if I can beat Chief Old Chief, it looks like I will, then things are good. But tough week. Jesus Christ, Baker. So with the Seahawks losing to the Bengals, do you believe me now that the Lions are the third best team in the NFC, or do you still think the Seahawks are better than them? That was a game that you guys could have won too. And everyone's saying Geno sucks, Geno this, Geno that. It's the offensive line that didn't do a good job. And obviously, you know, getting T-Rex, Trey Hendrickson all up in your grill, most people would get sacked in that situation. And not just Geno Smith, but the entire league. You know, but I see a lot of slander against Geno, which I feel is unfair. But, you know, I feel bad for Hawks Nest and all those people that are associated there because it's going to be a lot of toxicity in that fucking chat. I'll tell you that. Well, it looks like I didn't get my fantasy points there with Mike Evans or Rashad White. And then my fucking Montgomery might be out for a few weeks. So there goes my RB1, but I'm still hanging around. Imagine if the Eagles and the Niners both lose to the Browns and the Jets this week. It is the NFL. Oh, no. I'm sorry to hear that. Paisley means everything to me. And that's tough. You know, anytime you have a cat or a dog, I'm so sorry, bro. Some people don't understand, you know what I mean? Like I said, some people have kids, some people don't. Some people, you know, will have a cat or a dog, but some people treat that cat or dog like family. And that's what Paisley is. I mean, she's like my daughter, you know, like 100%. There is no one that's been more special to me in my life than her. And 13-3 record in the last 16 games. That's 16 game stretch in Detroit Lion history, baby. Go make some supper, guy. Too early to say the Lions are in third. Come on, reflect. Really? Really? They're not the third best team? with the Eagles and the Niners, even with the record and how they beat the Buccaneers. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of Geno haters. Yeah, Levis, like that would have worked out. Exactly. Yeah, sorry about your cat, man. Like I said, everything, as far as sports and fantasy, that shit don't matter, especially when it comes to a cat and a dog or a child. So sorry to hear about that, man. Prayers up, and I know it'll be probably a little bit difficult. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate you. $100 dono. We don't usually see donos like this anymore. This is far and few between, but Reflect is a goat, and I do appreciate you very much, man. Do you have a photo that you can send me and I can put it up on the screen for you to honor your pet and your family member? If you got one, you can send it to me by text message, and then I can send it to Sarah on Twitter, and I can pull it on the screen, and I can put it on the screen for you if you got one on your phone. I would love to do that for you. Thank you so much for your generosity, man. Like, we have people that have used to do things like this and no longer do. And we have people that come through when they can. And obviously, we don't get donos like this that often anymore. But when we do, it does really mean a lot. Thank you so much for being a big part of this channel. And you're kicking ass in fantasy. You got one of those teams that I do fear. I think you and me have probably the two best teams in fantasy from top to bottom. And I do appreciate everything that you do for the channel. Some days we're going to agree to disagree on certain topics like the Lions or the Seahawks or my Bucks, but it's all in good love and good nature. And thank you so much. But if you do have some photos to send me of your cat, I would love to honor your family member here on the stream. Bang bang, $100 dono. What a goat! This is Reflect's biggest dono to the channel. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. You got a photo Reflect that you can send me in text message? If you got one for me on your phone, I'll put it up on the screen for you if you want. Obviously, if it's too painful right now to see that on screen, then I understand. But anything I can do to honor your family member, I would definitely do it. And now we got the Eagles and the Jets here at 14-12. So once this game is over, then I'll end the stream and then I'll start doing reaction videos, and then I'll try to pump out three or four or five, and then we're going to skip Sunday Night Football because it's obviously Bills and Giants. We know the Bills are going to win by a billion, and then go from there. So appreciate you, man. Keep that on the screen for a little while. Odie. Jalen with a touchdown and two picks and a rushing TD. Zach Wilson still a very average pedestrian performance, 19 for 33. No touchdown passes, but 14-12. I mean, if you're an Eagles fan, you can kind of see the writing on the wall, right? That, you maybe people think you're the best team in football, but you still have, some weaknesses there in the secondary, and you have a first place schedule. You didn't have that last year, and then you were able to run the league. So anytime you go from a first place schedule compared to a fourth place, third place, or second place schedule, there's going to be a difference, right? And the Niners ended up having injuries with Debo as well as with Christian McCaffrey. They lost to the Browns. So anybody can beat anyone, but injuries cannot be predicted. Big first down for Goddard. 14-12 Eagles. Kind of crazy scores today that we've had. Let's take a look at the sub count too to see if we've gotten anything. I don't know if we have gotten anything or not. I think we're around the same amount. So I think we need 7 more. We've been hovering around 5, 6, 7 people, going back and forth and whatnot, to get to 20,100. So we need seven more. Let me see where we're at likewise. All right, just added one there. So we need 7 more to get to 20. Sometimes, when you have ESP, it's cool. You can predict stuff. You can predict scores, predict finishes and whatnot. But sometimes, like the ESP, I want to be wrong. It would have been really cool for me to be wrong this weekend twice. I picked the Ducks, to lose. It would have been cool for them to win. I picked the Bucs to lose. It would have been cool for them to win too. But sometimes, you just have a gut feeling and you have to go against your own teams. And yeah, that's a tough thing to do. It doesn't mean I'm a less of a fan. It just means that I feel that the Lions and the Washington Huskies were the better teams than they were. So no, there's no shame in that. Big hit by the Jets. I really like the Jets helmet and jersey combo that they're wearing right now. Swaggy. All right, let's take a look at the scores and go through some of those. Anyone that has any additional information on fantasy or in sports, please comment and let me know. I mean, there's NBA, NHL, MLB, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And then if there's any reaction videos that you want me to do, comment below because I'll probably do 3, 4, 5. And obviously, I'm going to do this game. I was thinking about doing Seahawks and Bengals, Saints and the Texans for CJ Stroud. But let's take a quick peek here. All right, so we got Rams 26, Cardinals 9. Jets, obviously, we're in this game that we're watching right now. 2-minute warning, Eagles are up by 2. And then final score, Ravens 24, Titans 16. That was in London. I watched that this morning at 6 a.m. Commanders 24, Falcons 16, which shows you that Desmond Ridder is not good enough to be the starting quarterback there. They should have won that one at home. Bengals 17, Seahawks 13. I thought that one was a 50-50 matchup. Jags 37, Colts 20. But at one point, it was 24-3. So Jags were up. So Colts fought back with obviously no AR, but you can only go so far with that. So, and then Reflect just sent me the photo, so we're going to honor his family member here. And then we got Dolphins 42, Panthers 21. But the Panthers were up 14-0 in that game, and I was like, oh my God. But I knew that they were not going to win that game. Vikings 19, Bears 13, but Justin Fields got hurt. Niners lost 19-17 to Browns. Christian McCaffrey got hurt in the first half as well as Debo, and that's how they lost. Texans won 20-13 over the Saints. Most people think the Saints are the better team, but not so fast. Don't sleep on CJ Stroud. The winner of the AFC South is going to be either the Jags or the Texans, and I said that about 2 weeks ago. Raiders 21, Pat 17 final. Lions 20, Bucs 6. Hey, if you're a top 5 team in the NFC, sometimes you can't beat a team that's better than you. Rams 26, Cardinals 9. And kind of a shame we couldn't even get a touchdown when I'm all dressed up in the creamsicles. I even wore the Bucco Bruce Tom Brady shirt underneath that has been sitting in my closet for 3 years. Got the hat busted out that I haven't worn in like 10 years. And then we got Giants Bills here on Sunday night. Chiefs 19, Broncos 8. And then we'll actually have a good Monday night matchup. We damn boys. Dak Prescott versus the Los Angeles Chargers with my boy Justin Herbert with a broken finger. Oh, I'm definitely going to use these. Oh, those are really good. Intercepted, the 50, the 40. The Jets are going to win the game. Wow. If you have a top 10 defense, You can beat anybody. Just ask Josh Allen. The Jets might beat Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Are you kidding me? That's why the NFL is crazy. You'll never see this happen in MLB, NHL, or NBA. All right, I got a couple photos that we're going to put up. Touchdown, Brees Hall. They gave him a lot of time, though. Hey, your fantasy is doing quite well. Your cat is beautiful, bro. Just like the person, I gotta take your dono down because your dono is. We don't want to cover up the face here. Appreciate you. We'll take it down momentarily. Looks like a very, very loving family member there. And I know tears were shed. You know. Oh, you got some good photo taking skills. You're very good. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that shot. I don't know how many times that you had to take pictures to get that shot to be just like the toy, like the dragon there, but that is awesome. That's a 10 out of 10 right there. As far as like mimicking the toy and the structure. And then obviously just like, I love you, you know. I'm so sorry, man. But that's the least I can do. I know other streamers wouldn't do anything like this, but I'm not like most streamers. So if you got any more that you want to send me, I can put up a couple more. I'm not going to be on stream that much longer. I am going to do some reaction videos, but we're going to finish this game before I stop. So, and then I'll start doing some reaction videos and spend some time with Paisley. But if those are the two that you want to share and those are the best ones, then we got them up here. Kind of same kind of color scheme as like a Paisley. Kind of you got like that kind of brownish kind of color, lighter color and whatnot. Love you, bro. Appreciate you. Oh wow. Oh, that was almost picked. Yeah, and like I said, when it comes to family and it comes to pets, sports is great. We have it for entertainment. We can banter back and forth, on who's better, this team or this player or that player. But nothing can compare, to the mental health and having, that comfort, of a son or a daughter or a cat or a dog. And it's not just a cat or a dog. To some people, it's a cat or a dog, but to others, it is truly 150% family. And that's how it is for Reflect. And I know that's how it is for me as well. Are you planning on trying to get another cat to replace this one? Do you have other cats in the house or other dogs in the house? Or was that the only cat that you had in the house? Do you have an opportunity to maybe go get another family member and add it to the family? Absolutely. I mean, I honestly kiss Paisley, probably like, and I'm not even joking, probably 100 to 500 times a day. I give her all the hugs, all the snugs. She sleeps with me and snugs with me all day, all night. It's like, we go on adventures together. I mean, it's crazy as it sounds. I would rather spend time with Paisley than most humans. Like that's how much she means to me in the way that we have our bond. Like I just feel like really blessed that I was actually able to get her because she, like I said, she was about 10 pounds overweight. And if I was banned from seeing her, or whatnot with, how the relationship ended, I mean, who knows how many health, concerns that she would have because at that point, she was already, you know, going to be like 70 pounds. And by this point, maybe she'd be like 80. I mean, she'd be like in a very bad spot because she wouldn't be walked, or, given the right amount of food. The love wouldn't be there. It's like if you have priorities of partying and you don't give a shit about your kids or your animals, what do you think's going to happen? If you care about drinking and hanging out with your friends more than your kids or more than your pets, that are family, what do you think's going to happen? You know, that relationship is going to be strained with the kid, and it's going to be strained with the fucking animal too, and the family member. So, and I was able to, get Paisley drop down 15 pounds for a dog. That's like a fucking 100 to a human. So that made me feel really good. And I already knew that she was not going to get walked. And I walk Paisley about 3 times a day. Jalen going deep, almost intercepted. Wow, the Jets are going to beat the fucking Eagles. Wow. The Jets are going to beat the Eagles and the Browns are going to beat the Niners. Talk about parity in football. And now people are going to be, are the Detroit Lions the number one team in football? Well, obviously, we won't go that far. I do like the Lions, but it shows you in a weird, sport that we love to watch, anybody can beat anyone on any given Sunday, Monday, Thursday. What are the chances the Eagles and Niners both lose at the same fucking day? Like literally, like what are the chances of that happening? But also both teams that they lost to have two of the top 10 defenses. Browns, even with Deshaun Watson being banged up, Jets with not Aaron Rodgers, but Zach Wilson. So you can have dog shit quarterbacks on the team, but if your defense is top 10 normally, then anything can happen. So no problem. No problem. Thank you for all your support. And we'll throw them up on the screen one more time. We'll hit you with the Seahawks spinning logo too. I appreciate you. Thank you for your support and your love. And even if we can't come to terms on how good the Detroit Lions are, hopefully our Bucs and Seahawks can do some big things. And I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for your generosity. And this is the least that I can do because you guys see how I am with Paisley, and I know that you're the same way, with Odie. So rest in peace, and I hope you get another family member very soon to comfort you and the family. Love you, bro. Look at that. First win versus the Eagles all time. Lost previous 12. Robert Saleh. What a wild week in sports, man. Jets defense. Browns defense. Jets defense won it. Browns won because of the injuries to McCaffrey and Debo. I honestly feel if McCaffrey, even if Debo got hurt and McCaffrey didn't, they would have won. But that's how it goes. So all right. Well, I need to give Paisley some dinner, and then I need to start pumping out some of these reaction videos. So I'm going to start off with this Lions and Bucs. If it's, I got to see which ones are done already, and I'm going to end up doing maybe 4 or 5. I got to take her for another walk. You guys enjoy Sunday Night Football. Watch the Bills obliterate the Giants by probably 50, and I'll be back obviously doing reaction videos this evening. Check those out. Peep them. Then I'll do reaction videos in the morning, and then we'll end up doing Monday Night Football with the Cowboys, We Damn Boys, and the Chargers. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And shout out to Reflect for coming through and saving the day. In honor of Odie, $100 dono. Appreciate you, brother. All right, your boy's got to get to work now. You know, life of being a fucking full-time streamer, it's not fucking easy. So I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very, very much. You guys are the best that I could ask for. And shout out to Reflect for being the GOAT and every single person that donated, commented, shared, Marcos to get us going early on. Thank you to him. And tough loss for the Eagles, you know, but again, tough loss for the Niners, tough loss for my Bucs, you know, and the Seahawks as well. But we'll get over it. It's just one loss and we'll bounce back. So I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you to everyone that donated, commented, shared. Marcos and Reflect are the MVPs. And I got one question for you. Who do you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Gang.